Look, YouTube, and welcome back to a new video and with a new series. We have started with a bang. We're going to start doing a thing, hopefully weekly, although I might not be able to manage it every week, of the non-league show based upon the headlines found in the non-league papers and non-league paper and on club websites and the like of what is the runners and riders going on in the past week of footballing action in the non-league scene. We will start off with what is a lot of people making headlines of Laurent Mendy and his move to Hearts for £1 million, or nearly thereabouts. Forest Green Rovers have sold midfielder Laurent Mendy to Hearts of Midlothian for what National League outfits say could be a club record fee of nearly £1 million if all the targets are met. The 29-year-old, who has signed a 3-year contract, has been a long-term target for the Scottish Premiership club. And Forest Green Rovers manager Robbie Savage told his club's website, "It's an unbelievable opportunity for Mendy. I cannot stand in the way of progressing his career and bettering his and his family's life whilst getting a record fee received for the club. They've got a fantastic player and a fantastic person. I'm incredibly proud of him." Mendy actually followed Savage to Forest Green from Macclesfield last year and was a near ever present, playing 47 times as the Gloucestershire-based side finished 7th in the table and missed out on promotion after a quarter-final defeat in the playoffs. Forest Green say that the transfer of their club captain could eventually amount to a club record fee of close to £1 million. And Hearts, who finished second in the Scottish Premiership last season, say they viewed Mendy as a standout player for Forest Green. The Edinburgh club describe him as tall and physical. Laurent's versatility was a key part as Rovers finished in the playoff spots last season. Often deployed as centre-half, his ball-playing attributes followed him to step forward and become an extra midfielder. He was born in France, and Mendy moved through the lower ranks of English football from Thamesmead Town, Greenwich Borough, Whiteleaf, Ashford United, Dartford, and VCD Athletic before a season in Sweden with Amal, then 4 seasons with Macclesfield. Jermaine Defoe, the whole situation with Jermaine Defoe really, and him leaving Woking is next up on the headlines. And Jermaine Defoe failed to turn up to training prior to his departure as Woking boss, the club's director has revealed. The 43-year-old's contract was mutually terminated on Thursday, despite only having taken a role in March. The former Premier League striker claimed this week that it was impossible for me to continue as Woking boss. Defoe took charge of just 6 matches at the Cardinals, winning 2 and losing once. However, a bizarre statement from the club's director of football, Jody Brown, appeared to hit back at the former Tottenham and West Ham man. Brown claimed that Defoe missed both the training and pre-arranged meeting this week amid growing concerns within the club during pre-season. A statement posted on the club's website read, "Jermaine Defoe was an outstanding player, scored a vast number of goals, and is a very likeable guy. The feeling I get from within the football industry and its global support is not one of great surprise. But of course, our own fan base want and deserve some kind of clarity. The recommendation to appoint Jermaine as manager was mine, and I take full responsibility for it. After meeting with him on several occasions, I believed he was the right person to lead the club into an exciting new era. As we have seen many times before, success as a player does not always translate into management and leadership. I sincerely hope to see him succeed in whichever direction he follows. I do not intend to discuss internal matters more than necessary or attribute any blame. I've seen the speculation. Instead, I want to make clear that the club was fully committed to supporting Jermaine in every sense throughout his time in the role. All player recruitment, staffing decisions, and footballing matters were heavily influenced by Jermaine, and he was given the necessary operational and board support. In any organisation, there are processes to follow, and just days before his departure, the club were delighted to finalise the signing of an excellent player which was identified by Jermaine, again illustrating the support the club had given him right up until the final day. Brown then provided details of the concerns that had been raised within the club regarding Defoe's output. Jermaine's feedback was always positive, and he regularly expressed his enthusiasm and excitement for the season, both publicly and privately. I can therefore appreciate the surprise and subsequent speculation surrounding his sudden departure. However, in recent weeks there had been feedback from across the club, including players, staff, and other departments. Regarding growing concerns, to better understand the situation, I asked Jermaine and Paul for a brief report outlining the squad's current depth, the recruitment targets, and any operational challenges, so we could provide the support required and accelerate preparations for the season. That support was requested on more than one occasion, but was never received. A meeting was subsequently scheduled involving the directors, manager, assistant manager, and head of operations to review the preparations for the season ahead. Neither Jermaine nor his assistant attended that meeting or that day's training session. Throughout his tenure, Jermaine had never communicated any serious concerns directly to me, so I'm not going to speculate on his reasons. Every football club faces challenges. Players want more game time, improved contracts or transfers. The media team might want better equipment, medical department more interns, the strength and conditioning staff larger gym space, and the car park attendants want more coffee. But people do not just fail to turn up. The experience has highlighted lessons for both myself and the club, particularly around communication with Jermaine and his representatives throughout the 4 months and 6 matches he was with us. Throughout that period, the club's objective remained the same: to support the players and staff and give the project every opportunity to succeed. I wish Jermaine every success in the future and thank him and his staff for their efforts. Our focus is now firmly on Woking Football Club and everyone who cares about it, while maintaining the standards, culture, and preparations required ahead of the new season. Defoe has previously as well spoken out on his exit, claiming the experience would help him in the next stage of his managerial career. He wrote on Instagram, "Following recent discussions, I can confirm that I have mutually agreed to leave my position as manager of Woking FC. Unfortunately, circumstances have ultimately made it impossible for me to continue in the position. I'm extremely proud of the work undertaken during my time at the club and genuinely felt that we were building something special. I would like to thank Todd Johnson for giving me the opportunity to manage the club. I'm incredibly grateful to the supporters and most importantly the players, who I am genuinely gutted for. The group is a fantastic one, and I wish the squad every success for the season ahead. I'm really disappointed the journey has ended so soon, but I leave with great pride in what Paul Bracewell, Carl Halaby, and I were building at the club. My time at Woking FC has been an eye-opening managerial experience and one that will undoubtedly make me stronger for the next challenge in my career." So there's going to be a lot of disagreements about who's at fault in this situation between Jermaine Defoe or is it the owners of Woking Football Club. I'm not going to speculate too much on it. That's for the comment section down below to talk about. But it just looks like a right old mess, if you ask me. Okay. Next up, Samseen Richardson joins Brentford's B team. Samseen Richardson has joined Brentford's B team on a permanent deal from Chatham Town. The 19-year-old has signed a 2-year deal running until the summer of 2028 with a club option of an additional year. The midfielder came through the academy ranks at Chatham Town before establishing himself in the first team during the 2024-25 season, when he won the club's Young Player of the Season and Player of the Season awards. Sean Richardson started for Chatham in the Isthmian Premier Division last year during a campaign which saw the side finish 4th in the table before being defeated by Billericay Town in the playoffs. He scored in that loss, taking his tally for the campaign to 11 goals, while also contributing 27 assists. The midfielder went on to win a second straight Young Player of the Season award and Players Player of the Season. Brentford B head coach Sam Saunders said, "We're really pleased to have Sam on board. He's going to bring some experience with playing first team football. His record last season for Chatham, playing lots of minutes, scoring and assisting lots of goals. It's something that definitely didn't go unnoticed. He's going to come here and take the opportunity with both hands. We're really looking forward to working with Sam." Okay, let's go to the tier 9 and 10 review. Yes, this is a part of the segment of the show where we do a roundup of all the tier 9 and 10 fixtures. And I'm going to start off with the Combined Counties League. And we'll start with Bovingdon, who played their first game in tier 10 in the Combined Counties League as they started their season with a bang, as Ben Baldwin scored a hat-trick, seeing them beat Edgware and Kingsbury, who were relegated from the Combined Counties Premier Division North last season, and so they duly ran out 3-0 winners. Maidenhead Town were also new to the Combined Counties League and recorded a 3-1 home win against Westside. An even first half saw Harry Combe put Maidenhead ahead, with Abdul Bagi equalising 7 minutes later. About 10 minutes later, Maidenhead then restored their advantage with a Ryan Hennessy goal. With Maidenhead leading 2-1 at half-time, it was all them, with substitute Jack McKenzie ensuring a 3-1 win. Bellstone, who competed in the Spartan South Midlands last season, saw a 4-0 win over Spartans Youth with the goals shared amongst Hodge Joaquim, Wilberforce Okram, and 2 goals in stoppage time for Ibrahim Kamara and Josh Gavin. Brookhouse, who missed out on promotion in extra time in the playoff final last season, started this one with a bang, running out 4-0 winners over Shepherd's Bush, which is the renamed Rising Ballers Kensington, with goal scorers being Deluxe Wengela, Herman Niado Kwanya, Hekmat Alizai, and substitute Ollie Evans. PFC Victoria London's attempt to mount a playoff push this season hit an early blow, losing 4-1 to Colliers Wood United, as Ben Hayes opened the scoring, but was pegged back by Alexei Shizaklovsky, equaliser for Victoria, but the advantage was restored just before the stroke of half-time by Moussa Traore. Colliers Wood then upped the advantage with Jude Sodder and Jack Williamson, leading to a cruising 4-1 win. At a 1-1 draw at half-time, little did the 103 in attendance to see Langley host London Samurai Rovers think it would be ending 4-1 to Langley. This was due to braces for Kian Berry and Pedro Sami, with the equaliser for the Samurais coming from Kota Aizuka. Not sure. Malesi never looked in danger as they ran out 2-1 winners, with Malesi scoring from Josh Peck and Tom Whitburn. And it was only a penalty deep into injury time that Sean McDonald duly scored that made the scoreline look more tight than it was. Elliot Whitehouse, who is the new manager of host Woodley United, saw an early scare with Rafi Ander, giving the visitors SC Deportivo Galicia an advantage, but Woodley battled back to earn a point through a Jack Webb goal. Oxhay Jets versus Berks County saw a 1-1 draw play out with an action-packed 60 seconds on the 18th minute, which saw the Sean Wiley opener for Berks County immediately nullified by Paulie Port Schuster. An end-to-end draw was played out between Wembley and Spelthorne Sports that ended 2-2. Spelthorne took the lead through Wade's Allegendia, only for Sam Langan to equalise, but Kaker Joseph restored host Spelthorne's advantage just before the half-time whistle. A 95th minute equalised by Jack Baker saw the game end up with a share of the spoils. We're now moving to the United Counties League roundup. The ground hop weekend for the United Counties League occurred this weekend, and it started on Friday evening in Northamptonshire, where visitors Northampton Owen Chinex came from behind to beat Moulton 2-0, where an impressive 392 in attendance saw a 12th-minute goal from Elijah Augustin as the hosts took a 1-0 lead in half-time, but a 52nd minute goal from Luke Stevens levelled the tie, and substitute Yamal Yusuf scored the goal on the hour mark to win the game 2-1. More ground hoppers swirled to the NFU Sports Ground on the Saturday morning as 869 crammed in to see hosts Ashby Ivanhoe win 2-0 over Gresley Rovers, with a 12th minute Spencer Bailey opener and Will Robson on the 23rd. A slightly early 2:30 kick-off to enable the groundhoppers to move on afterwards saw Cotton Green comfortably win 3-1 at home over Daventry Town, with Ross Evans opening the scoring from Tamworth-based club, and a Jonathan Letford brace either side of a Samuel Jackson consolation goal saw the Green Army, that competed in the Midland League last season, cope admirably with the switch. An entertaining game of football occurred in Leicester as visitors AFC Mansfield earned 3 points in a 3-2 win. A fantastic fight back from being 2-0 down with goals from Joseph Bell and Saxon Luca Nichols saw them level it 2-2 before half-time as Ryan Ingram and Daniel Shelbourne scored. Ryan Ingram then completed his brace on the hour mark, helping the Bulls to all 3 points. One of the most entertaining games in Tier 9 this weekend saw Leicester Nirvana win away to Eastwood in an end-to-end game that saw Joshua Allen opening the scoring on the 7th minute, and no further action was seen in the first half. But clearly, both managers urged forward play as Tamer Kleiner Nwate doubled Leicester Nirvana's lead. Tyler Blake made it 2-1, but Leicester Nirvana continued the domination with Joshua Allen brace in an effort to defend the Badgers, saw Tyler Blake make his brace and tighten the game at 3-2. An 87th minute goal for Rashawn Francis saw the 2-goal advantage return to Nirvana, but Eastwood pushed it back again on the 91st minute with a goal from substitute Luke Rawson, but he couldn't press home the advantage and the visitors ran out 4-3 winners. The new managerial duo of Rudy Funk and Jonathan Delaria started their tenure with a win as Hucknall Town won 3-2 over Skegness Town as they took a 1-0 lead going into half-time through a Trevor Lindo goal early in. Clearly, the half-time instructions worked for Skeggy as they immediately equalised from Lucas Dakin, but a brace for Gabriel Abid seemed to guarantee a Hucknall win, and although a Carl Radford goal closed the deficit, it wasn't enough. It was the Brody Litchfield show for Clay Cross, as he scored a hat-trick that ensured the win for the hosts, despite an Andrew Irvine and Harry Beheesgood goal apiece. Newark Town had a 5-star performance from the off with a goal immediately scored from kickoff as Toby White took the lead, and on the 8th minute, Ryan Rushton doubled the hosts' lead. But that was until the hour mark when the substitute for Hinckley, Chandler Pegg, scored in what proved only to be a consolation goal. An even match at Belper United's new home at Station Road saw the Tenants win. Ben Price broke the deadlock before Nathaniel Croft's goal for Sherwood Colliery levelled it up at 1-1 going into the break. In the 88th minute, Solomon Nassor had his goal having come close with a shot that rattled the crossbar moments before. Histon were wiped off their own Bridge Road Stadium by Rugby Town's performance as they looked to immediately return to the Northern Premier League Division 1 Midlands, as they shared the goals amongst Ryan Bridgewater, Devon O'Sullivan and Nathan Scott as they cruised to a 3-0 win. God Manchester Rovers struggled to compete with the firepower of Lutterworth Town as goals by Dominic Brennan, Corey Bucalosi and Tendai Adair and Kobe Bivens saw the Swifts run out 4-0 winners on the road. FC Peterborough found life in Tier 9 tough, with the Eastern Counties Division 1 North playoff winners 3-0 behind at half-time, thanks to a Jordan Brown brace and a Luke Young goal for Amesbury Rovers. They did, however, battle back with Jack Bedwell and David Yisser, making the score a respectable 3-2. All the action was contained to the first half at the Hayden Whitham Stadium, as Ryan Cook scored almost immediately on the second half for Deeping Rangers, with Ben Henderson equalising 5 minutes later for Kimberley Miners' welfare. And they doubled their lead through Curtis Ridgely on the 25th minute. And that was all that was left concerning goals, as the 3 points travelled back to Nottinghamshire. 270 people oversaw a dire 0-0 draw between St Neots Town and Northampton Sileby Rangers. A delayed kick-off due to the ground hop saw Atherstone Town win a thrilling 7-0 over Highgate United in front of either 234 or 558 fans, depending on which source you use. Even more impressive was that all the goal scorers were unique, with Ryan Harkin and Jack Edwards making it was 2-0 at half-time. But the second half saw tons of goal mouth as Lewis Collins, Joshua Steele, Tom Smith, Joseph Haynes, and Rowan Nui all scored. And the Groundhoppers were delighted to see another 7-0 on Sunday morning as Noel made an introduction to Tier 9 in style, running rampant over last season's Hellenic League Division 1 winners FC Stratford. A hat-trick for Talib Copeland, as well as goals by Anton Powell, O'Dane Barnes, Connor Mort and Jack Duggan put smiles on presumably 80% of 451 at Knowles Robin's Nest. A 3-0 kick-off on a Sunday saw an impressive display by newly promoted Desborough Town as they ran out 2-1 winners over recently relegated Coventry Sphinx. Goals for Ian Bakey and Aidan Bradshaw saw Desborough take a 2-0 advantage into the second half, and a 64th minute Dylan Parker goal wasn't enough for Coventry Sphinx to take anything from the game. We break this United Counties League roundup with games I went to this week. Yes, the segment of this show where we talk about the football match that I went to this week, or maybe football matches. There'll be a few I go to a couple of weeks. And this time, well, it was what a way to introduce this new segment of this new show. As the game I went to this week was Cotgrave versus Dronfield Town. It was a lovely summer's day with a heavy breeze and a very dry pitch. I wandered down the Grantham Canal until going through the new bar, buying a capitalise of course, and paying me £3 entry fee. Very cheap, mind you. I was a little bit surprised to see no seated or stand of any type, mind you. So I pitched myself by the properly railed off bit of a pitch, ready to see what the Nottinghamshire Senior League winners could do. And boy, I was not disappointed. The windy and dry nature meant that any pretty football was soon ditched to utilise the exposed elements. The first to capitalise was Cotgrave, with a goal kick which held up beautifully for Almond, who skipped past his marker and picked up the far corner and made the score 1-0. 15 minutes later, Dronfield scored a near-identical goal as Ord this time capitalised on the windy conditions. Seconds later, a mazy run into the penalty area by Cotgrave was stopped illegally by Dronfield, and the penalty was taken straight down the middle, very easy for the goalkeeper to save, or well, it should have been, if Naylor hadn't committed completely to one side, and Sir Lewis Robertson made it 2-1. Dronfield then equalised from a corner a minute later as Thompson was left unmarked on the far post and headed it in 2-2 with 3 goals in as many minutes. Just before the stroke of half-time, Cotgrave yet again had a great turn and run towards goal by Almond, and he doubled his tally for the day. So Cotgrave took the advantage going into the half-time as I got a cheeseburger and chips. And a cheeky discussion at half-time with Susan from Nova Radio Northeast, which I report for, about how many there would be considering it is cricket or tennis season after all. And it was Cotgrave again who scored as Ullman rightfully got his hat-trick as Smith and Upton were involved in some brilliant build-up play from midfield. The game again got a bit niggly as one foul wasn't given and then another was, and a yellow card was shown, and then a scrap ensued, seeing Cotgrave's manager awarded a card as well. Chris Millington then made some changes and Dronfield made it 4-3, yet again from the corner, and centre-back Morby scored from just outside the penalty area. Smith failed to make it 5-3 as he missed from point-blank range, and a second chance with the bubble taking it into an awkward trajectory which made it almost impossible to make a clean contact. It didn't matter, it was the 80th anniversary of Cotgrave and their first playing at this level, and what an advert of football it was. 7 goals and incredibly equal game. I gave it 8 out of 10 overall, could do with a stand, but that is about it in terms of on the pitch though. There was some truly wonderful football. So let's continue with the United Counties League roundup as Dunkirk found themselves visitors in the opening day against South Norton Athletic. And it was a display of a Nottingham side dominance as in the 12th minute, Steve Irvine made it 1-0. And in the 20th minute, Jack Harrison doubled the margin. It took until the 92nd minute for South Northampton Athletic to score through George Morris. Harrowby made a great start in their effort to make an instant return to the United Counties League Premier Division North, as they won 2-0 over Southston through Keane Ukatu and Sam Wright goals. Louth Town's lateral switch from the Northern Counties East didn't start with a bang, as a low-scoring 1-0 for Sandiaka Town, with a win sealed through a deep goal deep into stoppage time before half-time by Isaac Morledge. Maltby Main also laterally switched this season to the United Counties League and played out a 1-1 draw with West Bridgeford. Bridgeford had a very early goal through Lamine Jassi, but couldn't press their advantage, and eventually Maltby broke through the defence, with Thomas Pawson getting the equaliser. In a closely fought game between Pinchbeck United and Radford that saw Radford take the lead with a 20-yard screamer from Kai Moore, they took this lead into half-time before the hosts responded strongly by a Brendan Parker brace, but they only held this lead for only 3 minutes before a Musa Jawara equaliser for Radford ensured a 2-2 draw. Southall City started their season well against Pinkston away with a great start, with Zach Cashburn taking the lead on the 5th minute, and Bradley McDonald doubled the visitors' lead to ensure they were 2-0 up ahead going into half-time. Southall rounded off a fine afternoon with a Christopher Okoye scoring on the hour mark. Shirebrook Town had the most dominant display in Division 1 as they ran out 4-0 winners at home to Gedling Miners Welfare. It was only 1-0 going into injury time at the end of the match, courtesy of Kean Tansley's goal, but a switch off in defence saw a flurry of goals, with Ryan Parker scoring 2 goals in as many minutes and Joe Shaw scoring a 4th in the 98th minute. Stapleford Town managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory as they led 1-0 after 90 minutes due to a Jack Upton goal, but injury time goals by Aaron Lamb and Drew Allwood saw visitors Clipston take all 3 points. One of the more entertaining games of the afternoon was between Staveley Miners Welfare and Clifton All Whites. It was host Staveley who took the lead about 10 minutes in through Joel Ward, with Clifton equalising through Milo Baker. The Ward's goal ensured that Staveley took a 2-1 lead going into half-time. Rhys Bertram then levelled it up 2-2 in the 70th minute, and it looked likely to end a draw, only for Ainsley Finney to score moments before the final whistle, helping the hosts to win 3-2. Yorkshire outfit Swallow Nest hosted Lincolnshire side Sleaford Town in both sides' league opener. Swallow Nest took a 1-0 advantage going into half-time through a Charlie Baird goal, and Joshua Parker scored a goal for the visitors, but the host won the game for a Harrison Case goal, scoring 5 minutes later on the 70th minute. I'm going to intersperse some of these things with a match-in focus that I've taken from the local press. One of these is Bovey Tracy up against Wellington, where Bovey Tracy won 4-2. Bovey Tracy made a winning start to life at start of Step 5 as they dispatched Wellington AFC on home soil. Manager Ben Gehring explained that the pitch was like concrete, and that certainly disrupted their game plan, but it was good to get 3 points on board all the same. The host started in the ascendancy at the Western Counties roofing ground, only to be caught cold at the other end of the field with 10 minutes gone. A defensive lapse saw Wellington skipper Josh Baker claim possession, and he picked out the side netting with pinpoint accuracy from range. Gering's side continued to dominate the ball and claim close to hitting back through Jador Lawson and Kieran Bridger. They did find a first half equaliser eventually, with Ollie Applin but remaining composed when it mattered most, notching the club's first goal of the season. Wellington had defended admirably, but a missed clearance afforded the Bovey striker a golden opportunity. Applin could maybe have had a hat-trick within the opening 45 minutes, but it wasn't to be, and the sides went in the break all square. Looking to be more forthright in the second half, Gehring made a goblet change. Lawson and Charlie Stevens were collateral damage, and on in their place came Ruddy McKinnon and the dual-registered Jack Brimming. On the departing duo, Gehring said, "I don't think they did themselves any harm at all. I just wanted to change things and give Wellington a different idea." It didn't take long at all for Bovey to forge ahead. Callum Leach converted a Lewis Perrin cross for a 2-1 lead, but not before Applin had a goal of his own ruled out for a clear push. 2 quickly became 3, and it was that man Leach again. A good team move set Brumming away down the right flank, and his cross found the dynamic midfielder left unmarked once more. From here, it looked like as if the Moorlanders would go on and win by 5 or 6, but 2 injuries in quick succession changed this. First, Louis Roberts limped off to be replaced by Charlie Castlehouse, and then Leach, his partner in the middle of the park, was also unable to continue. Levi Landracombe went on for him, signalling another change in shape, and with Bovey still adjusting to the shift, Harvey Conroy found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper Andy Collins, and from the other end of the ground, it looked like he couldn't miss. The effort from the welly forward bounced just wide of a post, though, courtesy of a huge intervention from Collins. They would go on to reduce the deficit either way, as Evan House converted from a penalty spot after a rash challenge from McKinnon. McKinnon, one of the new arrivals in Bovey Tracy, took a chance at redemption as he put in a cross that set up the 4th of the afternoon. James Fowler, who made several superb stops of the day, spilled the awkward ball with Kieran Bridger on hand to pounce and head it home. After the game, Jerry made a level-headed assessment. It wasn't our best performance by any stretch, but I put that down to the conditions and just getting the legs going again in a competitive game. He continued, it was a really difficult game to manage. We couldn't get any control in the first half. As well as confirming, I think their impact injuries, hopefully nothing too serious, and ready for Tuesday. As mentioned there, Bovey's focus will swiftly shift to a derby clash with Buckland Athletic at the WCR ground. One player for whom it will be a big one is Bovey captain Owen Stockton, as his second game with the armband will be against his former club. Stockton said it's going to be a big one. I obviously know a few of the lads there, a few familiar faces. It'll be a good derby to see what it brings. Going across to the Eastern Counties League roundup. Soham Town Rangers missed out on promotion via penalties last season and grabbed the headlines as they won in fine style with a brutal 5-1 win over Heacham. Mason Newman, Jordan Baker, Kieran Twin and Lewis Jackman all made it 4 before half-time, with Colby Wood at least making sure there would be no clean sheet. In the final minute of the game, Jackman bagged a brace to round up a fantastic display of dominance. Mildenhall Town were relegated from the Isthmian League last season and started off their season in a struggle against Great Yarmouth Town as a Cameron Hines brace and Joe McNeil goal put the away side ahead on 3 different occasions, with each time Great Yarmouth penning them back, firstly by a Spooner penalty, then a Jackson goal on the 65th, but it took them into the 101st minute to see Rutherford secure a point for the hosts. Wisbech Town would have thought the lateral transfer to from the United Counties League might have given them some boost, but were very much mistaken as a ruthless first half by Stonemarket saw them put 3 goals away by Darren Mills, Sam Nunn and Ewan Gordon Clement. Dylan Hedge actually saw Wisbech take an early lead, but with it 3-1 at half-time, it was always going to be a tough ask, but they did close the gap to 1 goal through Harley Merkin. Eaton Collins saw Ipswich Wanderers take an early lead against Lakenheath, but was pegged back by Thomas Allen, making it even going into the break. However, another Eaton Collins goal from a penalty kick and a stoppage time goal by Reggie Lamb ensured a win for Wanderers. Away side Woodbridge Town may well have expected a cracker when 10 minutes in, Ryan Marsh gave them the lead, but a Louis Simmons penalty and then goals by Lagshan Sivakuma and Ruben Johnson saw Dereham Town take a 3-1 lead at half-time against the Woodpeckers. Although the away outfit did get a goal back through Mark Ray, the 3 points remained in Dereham. Marchtown United, who were playoff contenders in the United Counties League Premier Division South last season, continued their fine form despite the switch of league, with a 2-0 win over Harleston Town, with both goals coming in the first half from Stefano Cavosi and Rio Henson. Downham's Town attempts to make an immediate return to the Isthmian League didn't go as planned, as they were held to a 1-1 draw against Cornard United. The host Cornard were the first to score through Cade Ivett about half an hour in, And it wasn't until the 87th minute that Downham could finally equalise through Sean Avis, but it was too little too late to win the tie. Renamed Clacton Town ran out 3-1 winners over Dusendale and Helston Rovers, with Ikweagbu, Adam Ruffle and Arthur Bright who were goal scorers for Clacton, with Ricky Bevis being the only goal scorer for Dusendale. Parson Drove never seemed to have a foothold in their game against Holland, as their goals through Flynn Slater and Harrison Taylor was not enough for the mighty Holland, with Ruben Cowler, Charlie Lindo and Keelan Sorrell wrapping up a 3-2 win for the visitors. Withenow Town, who were reprieved from relegation last season, saw them get off to a winning start at Gorleston, as braces for Harrison Chumbley and Lewis Clifford were almost undone by the goals of Ryan Curtis, Jeremiah Dassaloo and Samuel Wooldridge. But that was all the Rezzies could manage, as Withenow ran out 4-3 winners. Long Melford will be disappointed in failing to get a point against Holbeach, as the Tigers made an early lead for a 13th minute penalty scored by Alpha Worry. Melford levelled the tie in the 53rd minute through summer signing Evan Gledhill, but Holbeach restored the lead from a free kick taken by Rebab Ali on the 76th minute. And 2 minutes later, Long Melford had a penalty saved before host Holbeach extended their lead via Dennis Coelho? I don't know. On the 80th minute, a goal was pulled back on the 86th minute, though, by Long Melford by Harry Whiting Noakes, but they were ultimately ruled for a missed penalty as they tasted defeat. A Michael Nkweke brace ensured that Whittlesea Athletic got all 3 points, as new signing Tom's Barkins also chipped in to make it 3-1 against Needham Market Reserves, with only Harry Hopkins able to get on the score sheet for the hosts. Netherton United, in the highest game they've ever played at, started off with a 2-0 win at home, with Adelaide Bold firing at Netherton into a first half lead. And after Halesworth Town missed a penalty, Freddie Hook wrapped the points up with a second half goal. Pegasus Rovers has been renamed to AFC Pegasus, and they ushered in their new era with a dominant 3-0 display over Norwich United, with the host taking the lead 10 minutes in through Callum Griffith, who then gained his brace in the 70th, and Jack Clampin scored in the dying moments of the game to make it 3. Wroxham Reserves cruised to a win with goals from Samuel Johnson, Freddie Lyons and Rio Ward, with Hadley United only able to get a consolation in the 89th minute through Kane Monday. In the South Division, a Malik Donaldson hat-trick put host Lymore Gardens in control, despite an early scare, as Harry Pittock and Michael Migno made it 2-0 within 15 minutes for Stansted. But Lymore fought back, and despite a Jeffrey Adjiman 82nd minute equaliser, it was a mistake at the other end of the pitch with an own goal, which saw the Gardeners gain the 3 points. London Hearts United made a statement of intent on Friday night, as the Essex Alliance winners ran out 8-1 winners away from home and were leading 5-0 at half-time. David Moyo took half of those goals for the Hearts, with Kennedy Diary, Michael Olatunji, Tamas Retye and Emmanuel Tihi saw them demolish NW London. Enfield Borough made a bright start, with Odunyayu Elifosi scoring a 25-yard free kick, which was mainly due to a goal-kicking error, and the lead lasted only 3 minutes as the long throw wasn't dealt with, as Stuart Zanone equalised Burnham Ramblers, and a cheaply given free kick saw Tom Franks head hosts Burnham 2-1 up just before half-time. Callum Lever then got a red card and a penalty, gave a penalty to Enfield Borough, but Mansour's effort was saved by Pellin, and they just couldn't get past the 10 men. Cannons Wood came close to claiming all 3 points in the 98th minute, but a world-class save by Hoddesdon Town's goalkeeper meant the game was goalless coming into full time. Athletic Newham's attempted return to the Essex Senior League started well with a 5-2 win over Dunmow Town, with Newham's goals coming from an Idris Aminu brace, Robert Calancier, Leonardo Pedro and Seko Fati. East Thurrock made a dream start to their Eastern Counties League Division 1 South campaign with an away win to FC Baresi. And the first goal came for the Rocks as a great run from Lewis Rowe down the left-hand side, which finished with an angled shot past the goalkeeper. But Baresi looked good on the ball, and 6 minutes later did a nice sequence of passes that saw Richard Arhin virtually able to walk the ball into the empty net. But that wasn't it, as East Thurrock had made some good passes of their own and beat the offside trap as Freddie Barrett won the game with 8 minutes into added time. Hertford Heath made history today as the first time they've played at Step 6, and with over their 100-plus year history, it just wasn't to be though, as May and Baker ran out 4-0 winners at home, with goals by Zivadimir Lopez, a Max Hart goal which was wedged between an Ede Papanete brace. Riley Town and Barcelona played out an entertaining 2-2 draw as Mofi, Tunde Ojolowo and Mitchell Ali scored 2 before half-time for Riley Town, but a Kamani Collington brace for Barcelona saw the point shared. We're now going to the Northern Counties East League roundup. Promoted Durn and District started life well in the Premier Division, running out 3-1 winners over Tadcaster Albion, who were playoff finalists last season, with Justin Skirkett scoring only 5 minutes in, and he was capitalising on a loose ball. Durn then had another goal ruled out, and Tadcaster equalised just before half-time with Oliver Green, who also capitalised on miscommunication at the back. Adam Baskerville restored Durn's lead with a 51st minute header, and 5 minutes before full-time, a long throw was headed by the player Fieldsand. Fackley took an early lead through Hascorgi, but Jack Dyche equalised before half-time with Knaresborough Town. A Leonico Gamma own goal was nullified by Olaf Fagurni 2 minutes later, and 2 goals in 2 minutes in the dynamics of the game by Luke Stewart and Alex Ingham saw Knaresborough take all 3 points. Despite Penistone Church taking the lead at half-time, leading 2-1 through Kieran Ryan and Jordan Kaduri, with Patrick Sykes keeping Campion competitive. That proved vital as they turned their fortunes around through a Corey Billy brace late on. Albion Sports were the first out the traps through Isaac Robinson, but an own goal by Isaac Acquire saw it still anyone's game at half-time, but Craig King and Danny Earl ensured a win for Barton Town. A Jack McMenemy goal was either side of an Owen Vincent brace, which saw Botsford Town run out 3-0 winners over Pickering Town. Ashley Finn proved the hero for Goldcar United as he scored a brace, and an own goal by Joshua Eggington meant that Redford United's start to the Northern Counties East League life went off to a bad start, with Oliver Wilson scoring only a consolation. 1-0 winners away. Horbury Town, had a routine 2-0 win over Parkgate, with goals from Joel Ferrin and Jack Mallinson. Keelan Grist scored the only goal in the game as Worsborough Bridge Athletic ran out 1-0 winners away to Rossington, Maine, and renamed Ecclesall to Keighley Town had to settle for a draw against Frickley Athletic as their Zane Newman Richards goal was cancelled out by Samuel Cable. United Counties Division 1 winners Retford came from behind to draw 1-1 with Handsworth, with Barnard Nazaya Yar salvaging the point from a Rian Arbuin opener. It took only 14 seconds for the first goal to occur in the Northern Counties East League as Division 1 side Brigg Town's Joshua Batty scored his first goal of the day. That was levelled up by Nathan Jarman, but Adam Drury ensured that Brigg took the lead into half-time when they increased their advantage yet again through Batty, and a Eugene Eugenio goal for Appleby Frodingham wasn't enough as Brigg took all 3 points. Field Olympic were West Yorkshire League champions last season and continued that fine form to the league above, scoring only 9 minutes in through Joseph Colley. However, 3 minutes later, Gould got back into the game through Silas Valladolid Collins, but a brace in the second half for Samuel Bradley meant the points were sealed for the Bradford-based club. LIV were another new side of the Northern Counties East League as they started well, scoring on the 9th minute through Lyndon Hodgson. But Club Fawn Colliery came out strong in the second half through Jackson Yates and Scott Hutchinson. But LIV levelled up through Dominic Boothby, but Hutchinson completed his brace, making it look like the game would be Fawn's. However, Ryan Wincup scored an equaliser moments before full time. Central Midlands Alliance Premier Division North winners Kinsley Boys fell to a 3-1 defeat against Crowell Coats, with Carlo Midwinter's brace in the opening 10 minutes giving the visitors a perfect start before Henry Cook sealed the deal and Bradley Doherty grabbed a consolation in injury time for Kinsley. Leeds University started well, forcing Hemsworth to concede an own goal from Matthew Semley, but Hemsworth minus welfare fought back with Adam Hayton equalising. But a brace for Edward Tordeth in 5 minutes into the second half gave a win to the uni side. A truly dominant display by Doncaster City saw them score 3 goals before half-time with Callum Ward, Derry Robson and Ryan Dickinson. All of us on the score sheet rather, and Imminent Town did claw one back through Carl Hulse, but Oliver Bowles made it 4 just before half-time. A bumper crowd of 524 saw Harrogate Railway Athletic run riot against South Leeds. South Leeds looked the better of the two at the start, and only 4 minutes in, Nathan Cartman scored. But the Locomotives ploughed back with 4 goals, with Alex Burton, Sam Cook, Sam Clothier, and Jack Mason all scoring to make it 4-1 by the end of play. Armthorpe Welfare kept all 3 points at home, with a 19th minute goal by Finley Harding being the only goal of the game against Route 1 Rovers. Selby Town took the lead just before half-time with Joseph Rawcliffe and saw out the 1-0 victory against Aversley Recreation. A Craig Nelthorpe penalty for Wakefield was all that saw the difference between Wakey and Winterton Rangers. Ilkley Town and Wombwell Town played an entertaining 3-3 draw. It took only 10 minutes to see a goal as away outfit Wombwell scored through Cater, but 2 minutes in and as many minutes by Lewis Gartland and Dan Clark Coates saw Ilkley take the lead. It was restored to 2-2 before half-time by Morgan James, and Wombwell took the momentum into the second half, scoring through Nash Connolly. But yet again, Ilkley fought on, and Clark Coates got his brace by a penalty on the 66th minute, but that was all that was left goal-wise in this game as it ended 3-3. The Western League Roundup. Following Portishead's disappointing relegation back to the Western League, they certainly didn't let that disappointment affect their performance as they ran out 4-0 winners over Ivybridge Town. They were relegated last season due to ground grading, but with most of the squad retained, it took only 12 minutes to break down Ivybridge's defence through Jack Thorne, Kyle Egan, and then doubled the lead with a lovely 1-2 in the 37th minute. And Ethan Feltham, who was the key striker last season, opened his account with Portishead and their third, with a simple tap-in from a Jack Thorne cross. And a fourth was scored by Thorne with his second of the day. Clevedon Town got off to winning ways, seeing them win 2-0 at home to Newquay, with damage done late in the first half. With 40 minutes in, a long throw by Bennett was chested by Laurent Davis-Wilson into the path of Westlake, who steered it home, and 2 minutes later, another long throw-in took a deflection off a Newquay player, resulting in an own goal. In the game of the day, it was a 7-goal thriller between Saltash United and Brislington. Recent addition Tyler Davis-Whitlock broke the deadlock for Brislington 17 minutes in. Henry Donovan equalised for the Ashes 27 minutes in before striking again to take the lead, and he completed his hat-trick in stoppage time of the first half. Brislington battled their way back into the game as Jordan Scadding cut the deficit, and on the 83rd minute, Mercia Ilea made it 3-3, but it was Saltash who took the spoils for a 91st minute winner by Kieran O'Malley. St Blasey had a strong start to the season at home to Wells City, winning 3-1. Tegan Rosenquist was the man of the day, with a tap-in on 20 minutes and then completing a brace on the half-hour mark, and a fantastic long-range goal by Kai Beryl made it almost impossible for Wells to win. And despite getting consolation late on by Oscar Pearce, it was inevitable that St Blaise would take all 3 points. Tavistock took all 3 points on their return to the Western League with a 2-0 win over Buckland Athletic. A wicked cross by Shane White forced the opener by an own goal, and the hosts doubled their lead after half-time through Deacon Thompson, who moved from Saltash over the summer. Tor Point also started with a win, beating Street 2-1 with Harry Probin and Joe Rapson scoring before half-time, and despite Jakob Dickens scoring just before half-time, Street couldn't mount enough of a charge to get anything from the game against a team who finished second last season. There was a late winner for Bridgewater United over Brixham. With it goalless at half-time, it was a Devon-based club who opened the scoring through Charlie Johansson. But it was Will Collins who flipped the game on its head with a 75th minute equaliser, and shortly afterwards made it a brace to bag the 3 points for the Robins. And the only other away side to win was Shepton Mallet, who, with a 20th minute goal for Ali Shen, beat Liskeard Athletic 1-0. On to another match and focus here. We're going to focus in on Darlington Town versus FC Hartlepool. And I know it was a 0-0 draw, but Mark Carruthers wrote into the Hartlepool Mail with a report. FC Hartlepool got the stern test they were expecting on the opening night of the new Northern League season, as they were forced to battle for a draw at Division 2 rivals Darlington Town. In a tight and nervy opening 45 minutes to the new campaign, neither side were able to seize the upper hand. Although it was Terry Hill's men that enjoyed the better of the very few goal-scoring opportunities that arrived during the first half, with Mikey McGee going close. It was their hosts that edged the contest after the restart, with forward duo James Beauchamp and Nathan Stevenson both trying their luck without success, as the deadlock remained in place with the full-time whistle was blown. SC Hartlepool's assistant manager Mark Loynes believes both sides will fancy themselves to be in the mix for the promotion into the Northern League's top tier this season, and insisted nobody will run away in the title race. He says you can see the way people have recruited during the summer, and that everyone in the division fancies themselves for a push. Darlington Town and ourselves are in that. There's no standout team in the division. Nobody's going to run away with the league. It's going to be very tight. A lot of teams have recruited so well during the summer, and I obviously include ourselves in that, but we are just looking forward to the challenges that lie ahead, because this is what it's about. All of the hard work over the summer is worthwhile if you can perform during the season, and that is our aim. And that leads us nicely into the Northern League roundup. Blythe Town ran out with a huge 6-0 scoreline over 10-man Berkeley Town. As the Northumbrians looked to make an instant return to the Northern Premier League, they started well, opening the goals in 15 minutes through Bailey Adamson, before Berkeley captain Sam Headley was sent off half an hour in, and that's when the goals really started to come, with Alfie Marriott and Andy Burns scoring before half-time. The goals continued into the second half with Bren Franklin, Owen Mitchell and Adamson completing his brace and route for of Berkeley. Parkview started the season well with a 2-0 win away at Annex St James's Park, with Nathan Conroy opening the second at just 20 minutes in. It took right near the end of the game for the second to come for Niall Armstrong in the Cumbrian derby between Carlisle City and Kendall Town. It was Carlisle who ran out 3-1 winners. Rob McCartney and Henry Walker made it 2-0 before half-time, but Kendall did grab one back through Charles McGladdery halfway through the second half. McCartney then failed to get a brace by missing a penalty, but they got a second chance from the spot, and on the 80th minute, it was Jordan Little who rounded up a fine display from Carlisle. Horden CW took the lead just before half-time through Philly Argus. They then doubled their lead with Elliot Wilson, with Crooktown scoring a consolation stoppage time with an edge of a box shot by Glenn Hargreave finding the back of the net. Tom Eglinton gave away an own goal in the 15th minute, which enabled Wickham to take the lead in their tie away to Musk United. But the Teessiders levelled the game up on the stroke of half-time with a Charlie Watt penalty, meaning the points were split at Mount Pleasant. It was the same score between Newton Aycliffe and North Shields, as Newton Aycliffe gained the lead through Sam Johnson's 51st minute goal, but 12 minutes from time, Nelson Ogbowaye equalised the game. Liam Anderson's 25-yard strike on the 42nd minute was enough to see Easington Colliery claim a 1-0 win over hosts Penrith. Bishop Auckland always bring a crowd, and 602 fans nestled into Teesdale Park to see a 2-0 win for Bishop away at Thornaby. They didn't have to wait long either, as Vinny Steele scored on the 2nd minute, and they then had a saved penalty with Shane Bland saving Spencer Walker's effort, and Lee Hume doubled Bishop's advantage with a goal off the post. An end-to-end game at Hillhead saw hosts Whitley Bay come from behind at half-time due to a Dale Hobson goal for Northallerton, who scored in a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And in a 10-minute spell around the 50th minute mark, Whitley Bay turned their fortunes around, firstly with a Lennox Magalhaes equaliser, then a Michael Scott header to put the Seahorses ahead. But moments before full-time, Harry Healy levelled it to see Northallerton take a point back to Yorkshire. Yarman Eagles Cliff started their campaign with the same success as they finished the last one, as Sam Conway scored 6 minutes in with a goal from a Jack Tolkien cross. Tom Atkinson doubled the lead 3 quarters through the game with a penalty, and Joe Ames pulled one back, but it was all too late for Newcastle Benfield, as Northern League Division 2 champions as well. Another Northern League promoted team was Redcar Town, who were Division 2 champions, and they pulled through in a tough test against Newcastle Blue Star. Ewan Potts put Blue Star ahead just before half-time for a penalty, but Ollie Can levelled things for Redcar with a chip of a goalkeeper just before half-time, but Andy Evans then scored from a goal from 20 yards out to reclaim Blue Star's lead. Redcar yet again flicked over the goalkeeper, and this time it was by Jaden Gray, and they then converted a penalty of their own with Craig Gott. In Division 2, Billingham Symphonia will take the headlines with their impressive 5-0 domination over Prudhoe. That started out with a Sam Irvine penalty in just under 10 minutes. Jacob Owen then scored before Irvine yet again scored, making it 3-0 at half-time. Harry Lambert and Steve Evans were on target in the second half in the game, that makes you wonder why Symphonia needed to worry about relegation at all last season. A predictably scrappy game between Bolden CA and Grangetown Boys Club just about went the way of Bolden. Mark Robinson opened the scoring 15 minutes in for hosts Bolden with a volley from a corner. The second half looked more scrappy, and Grangetown's physio was sent off for instigating a scrap with one of Bolden's players. With only about 10 minutes left to play, a mistake by Grangetown's goalkeeper saw Roby Gatesill double Bolden's lead almost immediately. Grangetown, though, got one back, with Famara Jata lashing home his team's only goal, which was mainly caused by the defensive blunders during a free kick. Host Chester Street Town opened the scoring in what would be a predictably even game between themselves and Jarrah, and on the 20th minute through Liam Arthur, and Jarrah responded 5 minutes later with a Declan Bissett goal. It was Huddleston who scored first in the second half, but Cyan Bowler equalised yet again for Jarrah, and both teams eventually had to settle for a point each. Durham United were outclassed in the first half at Maiden Castle, as Sunderland RCA netted 3 times through Owen Emerson, James McGeorge and Callum Guy, with RCA content to keep the scoreline as it was, and Durham couldn't break down the defence, and it ended 3-0 to the away outfit. Stokesley's return to the Northern League didn't go the way as they planned, as they lost 1-0 to Newcastle University, who scored through Lucas Allcroft. Towlaw Town have struggled for a few seasons now, but they started with a 2-1 win away to Brighton and Crawcrook Albion, in a result that never looked in doubt, with a Harvey Walsh brace, and only conceded for a sloppy penalty converted by Louis Calvert. Seam Red Star threw away a 1-0 lead, which they gained through Jack Leonard 60 minutes in, but Billingham Town got an equaliser 5 minutes later through Ty Saunders, then stupidly got themselves sent down to 9 men, with Jack Robertson and Harry Petterson getting sent off, but they somehow scored a winner just before half-time with Callum Johnson, and managed to hold on for 45 minutes in what should be embarrassing that Seam, who finished in the playoffs last season, failed to win. Ceta Carew's start to the Northern League wasn't great, as AFC Newbigin scored twice by Matthew Nelson and Daniel Hadfield in the first half before scoring a third in stoppage time through Jacob Douglas, ensuring a comfortable 3-0 win. They are your league roundups for Tier 9 and 10. Not all of the leagues have obviously started at the moment. And so we are going to round up some of the pre-season friendlies, some of the most eye-catching pre-season friendlies. And we're going to start with Barrow versus Blackpool. It ended 2-0. And, well, Barrow's unbeaten pre-season run continued on Saturday as the Bluebirds beat Blackpool 2-0 at Holker Street. And it was a historic game. It marks Barrow's 125th anniversary, and Adams Murray's team continue their good run of form ahead of a new season, courtesy of goals from Raheem Harper and Innes Cameron. The National League side's victory over Football League opposition is yet another step forward for newly relegated operation as it approaches match day 1 of the National League, where they actually face against Hartlepool. The fixture was not only a great run out for the Bluebirds, but in fact it commemorated the club's first competitive match, which was actually also played against Blackpool in September 1901. And that made it all the sweeter for Barrow fans. Ian Everett's Blackpool, and he actually started his managerial career with Barrow, made it the brighter start and had the more goal-scoring chances. Niall Ennis came close twice, as did Caroy Anderson in the 29th minute. However, Barrow's Harper capitalised on a mistake from the Seasiders goalkeeper Bailey Peacock Farrell and scored just before the half-time break. Both managers made changes at half-time, and the Bluebirds kept the pressure on the Seasiders as the game got back underway. Substitute Cameron then headed home Bluebirds' second goal in the 78th minute, leaving the Bluebirds in a good position to see out the game. Blackpool joined Holker Old Boys, Workington and Mansfield Town as teams defeated by Murray's men this season. The Bluebirds have 2 friendlies remaining before the beginning of the National League season. They will play a behind closed doors match against Notts County and then face Morecambe on the 1st of August. Speaking after the win to BBC Cumbria Sport, Murray said, "We are at the stage now where we don't want pre-season games. We have to turn the games into real games, and we did that today. And we did it in the second half at Mansfield." He added, "We put a mentality of points on the line because we are getting to the stage of pre-season where it's a bugbear now. It drags and you want action. We are doing the best we can to paint that picture, to create that atmosphere, to create that mindset in the players, and to get that realism into the game." Asked if he is any closer to knowing his starting 11 for the Hartlepool game, Murray said, "In some positions, yes. I think in some positions we have really good competition. There is a case for horses for courses in certain games, and that is why we need a squad. We need to make sure that if we have a certain tactic or a certain game plan that works against someone, then we will change for that reason. Hartlepool will be the same when we dig our teeth into that. We will pick our team that we believe will go and win that game." Next up, we've got the Bath City versus Newport County game. City twice came from behind to draw their final home pre-season match 2-2 against League 2 side Newport County on Saturday afternoon. The visitors dominated possession during the opening 20 minutes without ever really testing Harvey Wild Richards in the City goal. And it was the Romans who had the first clear opening on 23 minutes when Harry Parsons directed a header narrowly wide. Wild Richards was then called into action twice in quick succession, parrying Smith's free kick, then blocking Moses Alexander Walker, who spent the second half on loan last season actually with City, and he had a low shot which was blocked. Newport broke the deadlock on 41 minutes, and Garner's shot was headed wide, but a deflection of Kieran Parcel saw it find the corner of the net past Wild Richards' despairing dive. City almost levelled on the stroke of half-time with great work by Ruben Reid, who saw him tee up Parsons, but his shot was well blocked by a defender. However, within 4 minutes of a restart, City made it 1-1, albeit in slightly fortuitous circumstances when Danny Greenslade's corner curled straight into the net. Newport regained the lead 6 minutes later through Halpin's header from a corner. City were now matching the higher division Welsh side, and with 11 minutes, they levelled again. Academy substitute Sawerin Stretsin did brilliantly to retain possession down the left flank, and he crossed for Alex Fisher to lift the ball over the keeper. City came closest to winning the game after this when Donovan Wilson saw his goal-bound shot blocked, but it was another good workout for the Romans. Dagenham and Redbridge managed to beat Stanway Rovers 4-0 in a pre-season friendly, as Dagenham and Redbridge continue their unbeaten pre-season with a massive victory over Isthmian League outfit Stanway Rovers, who actually stepped in last minute due to Buxton pulling out because of someone in their management team having a medical emergency. Rovers started strongly with midfielder Alfie Cutbash drawing a 20-yard shot just wide, and a trialist for the lower ranked side had a shot curled wide as well. Rovers would rue these missed opportunities as Daggers midfielder Noah Coppin saw his header saved by the keeper Josh Blunkel, but David Rodari scored from a rebound. The Daggers didn't look back, and Archie Tamplin capitalised on a poor goal kick, tapping it home into an empty net. The hosts were now in complete control as substitute winger Kaimani Thomas scored in the 63rd minute by getting a shot to squirm under the goalkeeper to make it free. A Daggers trialist made it 4 minutes before full time with another effort going underneath the goalkeeper. The Daggers now face Boreham Wood in a friendly tonight. Gateshead managed to draw 1-1 against Newcastle United, with a massive 7,200 people attending the Gateshead International Stadium to see a game that was overshadowed by the legendary footballer and manager for Newcastle, Kevin Keegan, who passed away last week, and a minute's silence was held before the match. I'm sure Keegan would have been impressed by the resilience displayed by the Heat, especially with summer signing Tommy Lavery, who kept England international Lewis Hall and Harvey Barnes relatively quiet all game. Adam Desbois produced a string of important saves in the first 2 minutes to prevent Leo Shahar from scoring. New manager Lee Catamol would have been especially impressed on the 35th minute as summer signing Loop Spike scored the opener. Catamol told the press, "Keegan is a hero up here, and the people took him in as one of our own. It's so sad, but I'm glad we were able to show our respect." On the game, he added, "The way the lads applied themselves, I couldn't be more proud of them. Our out-of-possession work was very good. We were compact, well-organised, and to a man, brilliant. It was a great turnout and a great workout for both clubs. They have lost 5 key players and are currently under a transfer embargo, so have endured a difficult pre-season and do still remain undefeated though." The Heat only had 4 shots on goal against them, but conceded 11 corners. Barnes showed almost immediately his quality with a free kick glancing narrowly wide. However, a Fabian Schär goal on Ash Boatswain saw Suppiek able to score by getting the ball underneath Nick Pope for the opener, after Billy Chadwick's free kick rebounded off the wall. Barnes should have levelled the game from a Jacob Murphy fantastic delivery, and Barnes then whipped the cross of his own in, which evaded Sean Neve. Barnes then played in Mateos Ferreira, whose shot was initially saved before a wonderful pass by Jacob Murphy saw Gateshead substitute Williams deflect a Lewis Hall cross into his own net on the 79th minute. David Ferguson kept the game a 1-1 draw with a goal line clearance, and that was how the game ended. In another pre-season friendly, got Halesoe in town, who drew 2-2 with Tamworth. Tamworth started with Jake Hutchinson as a lone striker, supported by a midfield 5 behind him, but found himself a goal down after just 70 seconds in. Towns Cowley finished off with relatively ease at the far post after a fine cross from Halesoe's number 11, who was a trialist. It could have been worse for Tamworth if former Lamb Jim Kellerman had not hit his side footer on 3 minutes, again teed up by the number 11. Nathan Tishikuna set up Ben Milner's with a deft flick, but the captain's low strike was well blocked by the home defence. Then a threaded pass by Ben Akwaye through the right channel released Tom McGlinchey, but his low cross was cut out through Hutchinson, and although Hutchinson picked up the ball and fired low at the keeper, Platt from 12 yards. 2 minutes later, a deep cross from Meredith on the Halesoe right was met with a powerful header by Meredith, but he couldn't get it on target to test Jazz Singh. Another spell of Lamb's possession followed, and Milner's was appended in the middle of the opposition half on 17 minutes. But Tishukuna's free kick cannoned off the Halesoe wall for a corner. The home side responded through Barnett, who curled a low right-footed shot from the edge of the box past the left-hand post on 20 minutes before Lamb's defender Tom Handley reacted well to head Cowley's across away from corner. In the 25th minute rather, Meredith advanced well, but blazed over 30 ball from 30 yards, and then produced a couple of dangerous crosses to keep the pressure. Kellerman then thought he'd put Halesowen further ahead 3 minutes before half-time, when he burst into the area and unleashed a powerful left-footed finish. Luckily for the Lambs, the referee had already blown for a push on Handley. Tamworth almost conceded an early goal at the start of the second half, losing the ball in midfield on the 50-minute mark, but Cowley's final touch let him down when he looked to have the goal at his mercy. Cowley was then allowed time and space to try and strike up the ball from the edge of the area after 57 minutes, curling his effort around the far post with the Lambs keeper in full flight. At the other end, McClinchy picked up a good ball from Milners to put a cross into the far post, and Aquai got his head to it, but it glanced wide of the mark. The Lambs reacted by making 7 changes on the hour, with only Parks, Tishakuna and Oliver Dyson remaining on the field, with Dyson promptly whipping across into the far post for Kieran Donnelly, who connected well to see keeper Platt smother the effort. It was Halesowen, though, who made the breakthrough, doubling their advantage on 67 minutes when Meredith arrowed in another cross from the right, and trialist 11 headed it back across the goal and under the dive of the goalkeeper into the bottom right-hand corner. Now Tamworth had to dig deep, and Donnelly forced Platt into a close-range save on 69 minutes from a Daniel Creaney's flick on into the box. Moments later, a Curteran cross was turned behind for a corner, which he took himself, and again, keeper Platt intervened, leaping high as to clutch it away from any Lamb's attention in the 6-yard box. TJ Bramble made a strong run into the area, gliding past a couple of defenders before being appended in the area. Curteran dispatched the resulting penalty to the keeper's right to reduce the deficit. Halesowen soon returned to the attack, though, when Cowley picked his spot from fully 30 yards out, forcing the Lambs goalkeeper into a flying save. Adam Jasper came on for Tishakuna with just 10 minutes remaining and almost made an immediate impact. Donnelly beat his man down the right to cross low into the edge of the area where Jasper connected, but saw his strike blocked by Butterfield. There was no stopping the match saver, though, through Parks, and he rescued that draw on the 85th minute when he connected sweetly with a bouncing throw from Tyler Little. The Lambs might have nicked it in the end with 2 late corners, and the first came to nothing, and although Jordan Cullinane-Liberd got his head to the second, it was cleared by the Halesowen defence just as the final whistle blew. Harrogate Town drew 2-2 with Doncaster Rovers. And Harrogate Town featured in the first of the 2 games that Doncaster Rovers were playing that day, as they drew 2-2. With 371 fans in total, most of them away fans it must be said, came to Wetherby Road in a match that Isaac Hutchinson made his Doncaster debut. It was a lively start from the host as they came at Josh Clark with a flurry of early chances, but the goalkeeper stood strong and kept the Sulphurites at bay in the opening half hour. However, Harrogate kept pushing for an opener, and it wasn't long before their captain, Warren Burrell, got off the mark as he headed home a corner. Strong winds then gifted Harrogate a helping hand in doubling the lead, with Will McGowan's cross rebounding into the net off the inside of the post. Shortly before half-time, Robbie Gotts for Doncaster was forced off through injury and was replaced by Casper Williams. The Sulphurites found themselves 2-0 up at the break, but it was Doncaster who kicked off the second half in a much better fashion, dominating possession early on. Sean Grehan was handed the first real chance for the visitors, firing a brilliant effort goalwards, with the Harrogate stopper tipping it over the bar. Minutes later, Bailey McCann forced the keeper into another save, with his free kick on the edge of the box pushed wide. The 20-year-old was a live wire in the second half, and his determination really paid off. Following an excellent through ball by Hakib Adelakun, McCann rifled in a powerful strike from out wide to make it 2-1 on the hour mark. Rovers continued to put pressure on as they searched for an equaliser, with Owen Bailey next up to nerve Harrogate's back line, as the goalkeeper just got his fingers to the captain's header. It wasn't long before Bailey found himself in shooting range again, though, and with a scramble from a corner leading to a 27-year-old striker prodding home the equaliser. The final opportunity to net the winner came to Jack Sr., who looked to nod in a long ball from Grehan, but it was unable to convert. And a much better second half display meant Rovers remained unbeaten in their pre-season campaign, heading into their visit against the Trinity, which we will talk about a little bit later. Hemel Hempstead Town overcame Kettering Town, winning 3-1, and they really showed that golfing quality between the National League South and the Southern League in an entertaining but physical game. The Poppies may well have won the game as they opened the scoring 8 minutes in due to a misplaced defensive header falling nicely into the path of Ishmael Fataju to make it 1-0 to the Southern League Premier Central side. An excellent goal by Hemel Hempstead's Jesse Ether returned the game to a stalemate, and Kettering then had a shot from inside the penalty area go over the crossbar. The Tudors made them rue that miss on the hour mark, as Romain Campbell, having been brought down in the box, duly slots home in the ensuing penalty. There was a complete change for both sides, which gave Kettering a couple of opportunities to equalise, which they missed. With 4 minutes left of the match, new signing from Swindon, Jake Tabor, attacked down the left and a perfect pass found Josh Steele, who then passed it to Mauro Vilhetti, who completed the scoring by making it 3-1. Cardiff City overcame Forest Green Rovers by winning 5-1 at the New Lawn. Forest Green created the first opening of the afternoon, though, when James Berry slipped through the defensive line, but Will Fish was alert to block the effort. Cardiff soon took the lead, though, through Davis, who finished off a slick move that started deep in their own half. Ronan Capacchio found the winger, who composedly tucked the ball into the net. Shortly after, Willock doubled the lead, and after Salek capitalised on a loose touch in the FGR box, Carl Ajayi initially blocked the shot, but Willock was the quickest to pounce on a rebound. Willock secured his second just 7 minutes later, finding space on the edge of the area before a curling precise strike past a fully stretched Padgel. Salek then extended the lead further, driving into the box after being played in by Davis and firing a low shot past Padgel. The visitors were awarded a penalty late in the half when Salek's chipped effort struck the crossbar and rebounded onto the arm of Sean Etaluku. Despite the protests, Willock stepped up to convert the spot kick into the bottom corner, sealing his hat-trick before the break. Despite the daunting scoreline, though, Rovers' heads didn't drop, and they produced a much better second-half display. Carl McAllister teed up Niall Kengi, though his attempt was safely gathered by Nathan Trott. Jaden Clark thought he had pulled goal back when he found the net, but the celebrations were cut short by an offside flag. FGR eventually found their breakthrough via debutant Kelly, who finished off a neat passing sequence on the left and saw his rifle shot deflected past a stationary Trot. Kengney almost added a second for the host shortly after, but his curling effort drifted just wide of a post. It really was a game of two halves against a very well-drilled championship side. Hartlepool United lost 3-0 at home to Grimsby Town, with Hartlepool's bright pre-season ending with defeat at Victoria Park. This pre-season, Lee Clark oversaw 4 successive wins, but against the side who were in League 2 playoffs last season, the gap was just too much to bridge. Former Maidstone United striker Justin Amaluza got a brace, and Andy Cook added another in an impressive display for the Mariners. 8 of the Clark's signings started the game, including strikers Jack Nolan and Will Harris, and the most recent signing, goalkeeper Max Merrick. The Chelsea loanee couldn't be faulted for any of the goals, and by all accounts had a good game. Over 2,000 game fans were in attendance, with 252 being Grimsby fans, who were cheering on the 20th minute when Amaluza opened the scoring with a nice finish aided by great build-up play by Jaden Sweeney. 6 minutes later, the Monkey Hangers almost found an equaliser from midfielder Jamie Miley, who was denied by Christy Pym. Cook doubled Grimsby's lead just after half-time, and 4 minutes later, Amaluza got his brace by heading the ball past Merrick into net. Luke Charman and Chris Popov made some great chances for Pauls, but no goals were forthcoming, and Charman did pull up with an injury, although may have just been that he felt a bit of tightness in his leg. Hornchurch beat Tottenham Hotspurs under 21s 3-1. Hornchurch produced another impressive pre-season performance as they came from behind to defeat Tottenham Hotspur under 21s 3-1 at Bridge Avenue. Recovering from an early setback with an excellent first half display, before seeing the game out comfortably after the interval. The visitors made a perfect start though, taking the lead inside just 2 minutes. An early corner was swung into the penalty area, where captain Alfie Dorrington rose highest to head home and hand Spurs under 21s an immediate advantage. 1-0 therefore to Tottenham Hotspurs under 21s. Despite the early disappointment, the Urchins responded well and gradually grew into the contest. Nathan Ferguson was the first to threaten for the hosts after 9 minutes, firing an effort from distance over the crossbar as Hornchurch began to enjoy more possession. The pressure eventually told just after the half-hour mark. The superb switch of play found Asher Yearwood in space on the right, and his inviting cross into the box was met by Henry Hearn, who powered a header beyond Sam Archer to level the scores 1-1. Hornchurch continued to ask questions of the Spurs defence and almost completed the turnaround moments later when Joe Kizzy rose highest from a deep free kick, but his header was drifted narrowly over the crossbar. The visitors nearly regained the lead in the 42nd minute when Ollie Iro unleashed a powerful strike that Arthur Nasta did brilliantly to tip over the crossbar. That save proved crucial as Hornchurch struck almost immediately at the other end. Jack Powell collected the ball around 25 yards from goal before unleashing a magnificent strike into the top corner to complete the turnaround. 2-1 men to Hornchurch. The host added a third deep into the first half stoppage time. Ferguson latched onto a perfectly weighted through ball and kept his composure one-on-one with Archer and calmly curled the shot finish underneath the goalkeeper and into the far corner to extend Hornchurch's advantage to a 3-1 lead before the break. Hornchurch then made a number of changes during the second half as both sides looked to give valuable minutes across the squad. The opening stages after a restart were far quieter than the entertaining first half, although Spurs almost reduced the deficit when Mason King found space from an Elisha Soanemi corner, only to guide his free header wide of a target. Hornchurch remained well organised defensively and limited the visitors to few clear-cut opportunities, while continuing to threaten on the counter-attack. The Urchins almost added a fourth in the closing stages as George Alexander raced for a goal and attempted to round Archer, but the Spurs goalkeeper reacted well to nip the ball away before the striker could apply the finish. It mattered little, however, as Hornchurch comfortably saw out the remaining minutes to record another encouraging pre-season victory against strong opposition. The Urchins once again combined disciplined defending with clinical finishing, recovering from an early setback to secure an impressive win and continue building momentum ahead of a new National League campaign. One of the more interesting pre-season friendlies we had this weekend was Rochdale's 2-2 draw with Farnham Town. And Farnham Town have vastly impressed most of the non-league world with their 3 consecutive promotions, and this display by National League South New Boys, guided by Paul Johnson, showed exactly why. Rochdale, who were very impressive in their own regard last season, who collected 106 points and claimed promotion from the National League, but Johnson's side seemed to be content to play most of their football out of possession, but had a great defence. Farnham's goalkeeper, Michael Ecott, threw a fine save from Dale starman Manny Disawurvri in the opening seconds of the game, but couldn't prevent the home side for long as a last-ditch tackle unfortunately fell into Luke Hanant's path, whose cross was connected by Daisaruve, I can never pronounce that guy's name, to make it 1-0. Devontae Rodney 3 times hit the woodwork before Rakesh Bingham scored a goal from the centre circle to level the game. It looked like Farnham could pull off the upset when Dan Bayliss headed in a Cookapire long throw to put them in front with 20 minutes remaining. Rochdale veteran Ian Henderson had other ideas as he headed in the equaliser to make the game an end-to-end to end at 2 goals apiece. Morecambe's final away pre-season fixture ended in a confident 2-0 victory at Gig Lane up against Bury. and the Shrimps got off to a flyer in the first half. Ben Williams went down the left wing with the first attack of the game, and his cross was met by the head of Teddy Collis, who put Morecambe ahead inside 25 seconds. Morecambe then went on to control the opening period and was soon rewarded again when Collis found the back of the net again on 20 minutes in. He was played through on goal before he chopped back onto his left foot and calmly found the far corner with his left foot. The Shrimps dominated the ball and had the better of the chances in a very composed first half performance. In the second half, and Morecambe controlled the tempo and looked to composed on the ball. Collis nearly bagged his hat-trick in the 59th minute after beating the offside trap, but he shot straight at the goalkeeper. Miles Boney had a quiet afternoon in goal, but was called upon in the 74th minute to keep his clean sheet intact. Louis White's strike was heading for the far corner, only for Boney to claw the ball away at the last second. Bury captain James Neild then came close when his shot from the edge of the area hit the left-hand post, as close as they would come to hitting back with the Morecambe net, and the Shrimps held out to secure the clean sheet to go along with their win. Gainsborough Trinity and Doncaster Rovers played out a 0-0 draw. Doncaster were presumably fatigued as they were playing their second game of the day and also played out their second draw of the day as well, up against Gainsborough Trinity. Gainsborough started lightly as Fraser Preston won a free kick, taking it himself, and he floated the ball to the back post, where Jack Leckie had gambled but couldn't quite provide that telling touch. Sutcliffe was settling into his left fullback role quickly as he looked to send the ball forward to Connor Brown on the diagonal. The young striker just not able to take the ball with him, and the lively Leon Yinde had the first clearer sight on goal. But his effort didn't trouble the trialist goalie. A couple of efforts prior had been well charged down by George Hornshaw and Harrison Beedon. Jordan Helliwell then did superbly in his own box, turning away from two Rovers players, setting Brown and Williams on their way. Trinity looked sharp down the left side, and Brandon Hanlon looked to isolate himself one-on-one, but Sutcliffe stood up well to the challenge, getting an important foot in before Hornshaw was again in the right place to cut out James Husband's dangerous ball. Trinity defended Rovers' first corner brilliantly. Back defending, Brown looked to quickly turn defence attack in on the counter, but caught late, the Blues' momentum was halted. George Broadbent blazed a volley over the bar, and when he raced into the box and got on the end of a cross from the left, he leant too far back and couldn't find the net. And Tommy Simpkin had to react quickly off his line to avert the opener. 10 minutes late from a break, Trinity's best passage of play saw Sutcliffe surging inside with Lewis Buttroyd drifting out to the left, and then over a deep cross searching out Brown, who had peeled around the back. The urgency and interplay have flashed at what the Blues could be capable of. Ashton Offler replaced Jack Leckie at the break as the visitors continued asking questions of the Holy Blues. Beedon and Hornshaw continued to throw bodies on the line and do the ugly side of the game, scrapping to keep Trinity in the match. Helliwell was withdrawn after taking a knock and giving Elliot Whitehouse his first outing since his signing in the summer. Nixon tried his luck with a thumping effort, but was always rising before Hornshaw and Sutcliffe did brilliantly on the defensive. An attacking set piece saw Doncaster counter, but the duo's recovery runs forced the Doncaster team to make an error, and as the offside flag on the far side was raised. Entering the final minutes, Wilcox took a look at a couple of trialists as Brown and Preston were replaced. Hanlon flashed an inviting ball across the face of the goal, but no one was in support of the Doncaster attacker. Byrne missed a glorious chance of the visitors, heading over unmarked before Ayinde fashioned a shooting opportunity, but it was comfortable for the Trinity trialist between the sticks. A couple of minutes from time, the trialist number 17 looked to create room for himself down the right. Looking to centre, there was no one centrally for him to pick out, but the way he ghosted into space in his brief cameo was a pleasing offensive moment. Offler was in the right place to clear off the line as time ticked towards 90 minutes, helping the ball up and over the bar. Determined defensive resolve that demonstrated a desire not to be beaten. Weymouth recorded their second win of pre-season as they dispatched Worcester City with an impressive 4-1 victory at the Bob Lucas Stadium on Saturday afternoon. The Terrors, sporting their new striped home kit, made it back-to-back wins in front of their home fans, thanks to goals from Kelvin Brooks, Oakley Hanger and Toby Holmes. Jamie's Wells side got off to a quick start and found themselves a goal up within 6 minutes as Brooks headed home from a corner. With just over 20 minutes played, Worcester had their first real glimpse at goal after a long throw was flicked on by Charlie Wise, landing at the feet of Zach Guinan, who forced Gerard Benfield into a smart save down to low to his near post. 5 minutes later, the Terrors shot stopper was called into action again, as Will Glennon fired in a shot from a distance which Benfield parried clear. As the game approached half-time, Weymouth doubled their lead after Worcester failed to clear the ball properly as they kicked the ball against each other and a ball rolled into the net. After the break, Worcester had the first chance to halve the deficit as substitute Charlie Lutz got in behind, but his checked effort was tipped away for a corner. Worcester kept pressing as they looked to get back into the game as chances came and went from Lutz and Brendan Smalley. Weymouth took advantage of the visitors' failed attempts and extended their lead in the 65th minute through Hanger, whose shot from distance took a deflection to wrong foot the Worcester goalkeeper. Guinan's shot from distance was saved by Benfield to keep the scoreline at 3-0 before the host added a fourth 15 minutes from time. A well-delivered cross from the left-back Harry Hutchinson found striker Toby Holmes in the box, who finished well to make it 4-0. A couple of minutes later, Worcester grabbed a consolation as Smalley fired in a free kick from 20 yards. Kidderminster Harriers eased to a 5-0 victory in their latest pre-season friendly at Stratford Town. Lewis Walker opened his summer account with a brace, while Max Brogan, Levi Amanchi, Seb Thompson all also found the net. Harriers were dominant throughout and hit the woodwork as early as the 3rd minute for a trialist, before Brogan opened the scoring by tapping home Reese Hall's cross. It was 2 just 4 minutes later, and Hall again pivotal as he knocked a deep ball across the face of goal, where Amanchi was alert to stab home. Past the halfway point of the half, Devine's header almost made it 3-0 before Colin Dolan clattered the bar with a dipping distance effort. Ahead by 2 at the break, Harriers made quick work of getting their third on 52 minutes. Walker bravely winning the ball and freeing Thompson, who superbly smashed an angled effort into the far corner. Walker went from provider to scorer on 67 minutes. Stratford simply couldn't clear their lines as players took aim, and the former Braintree man added a clinical touch to find the net for 4-0. Thompson's rising drive needed a goal save from over the bar on 72 minutes, but Harriers had their 5th 10 minutes late when Walker's deft chip sent the ball looping over the goalkeeper. Harriers Academy goalkeeper Andreas Georgilas played the last 10 minutes and was on hand to deny the hosts a goal with what was the best chance to close to full time, smothering the danger at close range. Torquay United at Plainmoor ran out 5-0 winners over Cardiff City's under-21s. Jimmy Ball's side ran out comfortable winners on Saturday as the goals came out on top against the young Bluebirds at Plainmoor. United had already had a goal ruled out for a marginal offside on scorer Callum Morton by the time they raced into a 2-goal lead inside the first 8 minutes. Goal skipper Matt Worthington made the most of a moment of indecision from Cardiff box by pouncing on the ball before drilling a low shot past visiting goalkeeper Jake Dennis from 12 yards out. Just moments later, Dennis was forced into a parry from a similar range to keep out Sonny Blue Low Everton's strike. However, the glovesman was only able to parry the shot, and Dion Moore was ideally placed to slot home from point-blank range. The next 15 minutes saw the young Cardiff side launch a couple of decent forays into United half, with Toby Savin coming up with a decent parry to deny Jake Davis. Shortly before the first hydration break, it was 3-0. A short corner from Jordan Young was worked to perfection, as a series of incisive passes inside the box proved to be the undoing of the City backline, leaving Moore as the spare man at the back post to clip the ball into the net from just 6 yards out. The punishment for the young Bluebirds didn't end there, with another goal arriving just before the break as Jordan Young darted onto an inch-perfect pass inside the box before firing high into the roof of the net from 10 yards, leaving Dennis stranded as the ball whizzed past him at the near post. The second half followed much of the same pattern, although the Welsh side did manage to stem the tide. Although there was no imminent change to the scoreline, the welcome return of playing action of Cody Cook brought play more to its feet, as the Torquay centre-forward made his first appearance since dislocating his shoulder against Chelmsford back in February. Number 5 eventually came with 6 minutes left. A ball into the City penalty area looked to be dealt with without too much fuss. However, a loose clearance in the centre defence presented Matt Jay with the ball just 8 yards out. And Jay made the most of the opportunity as he calmly sent a volley into the net to round things up at 5-0. I'm just going to rattle through a few other friendly games of note which happened on the weekend before we go on to some of the interesting headlines which we've seen amongst non-league for this week. National League Southside Tonbridge Angels turned it around from a goal down to beat Dulwich Hamlet 3-1, with Gaspar Miko giving Hamlet the lead going into half-time, but Bunmi Babajide equalised, capitalising on a mix-up in the Dulwich defence. And then a trialist helped Tonbridge into the lead thanks to a wonderful Bailey Aikenhurst delivery. And Babajide got his brace and wrapped up the game for Angels. Woking, which has recently been plunged into crisis by Defoe's walking, fell to a 2-0 defeat against Reading as Tyler Saki and Jacob Brown scored for the League One-based Royals. Vauxhall Motors caused a stir as they won 2-0 over a strong Championship Stoke City side, with Finn Heath's deflected strike and Camoy McNair's late goal being the difference. Hensford Town settled with a 1-1 draw against Welsh Premier League side Connors Quay. Brodie Peart's first half goal and Marcus Wiley's second saw Aldershot Town beat Hanwell 2-0. Barnsley beat Scarborough Athletic by the same scoreline as Leo Farrell and Noah Town scored for the Tykes on the Yorkshire coast. A goal for Junior Tienzia, Kean Riley and an own goal helped Solihull Moors to a 3-0 win over Hereford. Tom Curzons scored on the 76th minute to help Boston United win 1-0 over League One side Peterborough United. Temi Babalola scored a goal for Sutton United as they ran out 2-0 winners over Horsham. Eastleigh lost 1-0 to Crawley Town for a Dion Pereira goal. Weston-super-Mare lost 2-0 in a difficult test against Exeter City as Sonny Cox and Josh Gordon scored for the Gretchians. Truro City's defence was resilient, only conceding 1 goal to Plymouth Argyle, but Michael Baidoo scored, and that proved to be enough to help the League One side to the win. Cheltenham opened the scoring on the 23rd minute through George Miller, who dinked the goalkeeper before Charlie McCann scored a second moments later into an empty net. And in half an hour in, McCann had already had a brace at the back post. Slimbridge did pull a goal back through Jack Smith just after half-time, but Jordan Shipley restored the 3-goal advantage on the hour mark by scoring in the bottom corner. Miller then got his brace on the 72nd, scoring from close range, and Max Barber rounded the day off by scoring 6 due to a great Will Stanway pass. On the Friday night, a Mackle Campbell header saw Chester narrowly edge out Hyde United in a 1-0 win, with the goal scorer only being with the club for a day. Isthmian League side Chatham Town continued to impress as they beat League 2 Gillingham 1-0 through former Gills defender Alex Giles. The Bedfordshire County Cup proved an entertaining affair as George Moncur opened the scoring for Bedford Town, but Kiala, about 10 minutes later, with some wonderful work, scored with his left on the right-hand side to see the underdogs Real Bedford level the game. Reading loanee Rhys Evans announced himself to the area by restoring Bedford Town's lead just before half-time. But it was the Bitcoin-owned club who came out the traps in the second half, with Tees Cross finding Ponticelli, who found the top left corner to make it 2-2. Josh Allen skipped through Bedford Town's defence before squaring the ball to Tom Hitchcock, who buried the ball into the roof of the net. The bragging rights and trophy, therefore, were presented to the lower-ranked Real Bedford. So let's go through some of the headlines through each of the levels. We're going to start off with, of course, the highest rated National League, as Sutton United sign rated Manchester City youngster. Because Sutton United this week has confirmed the signing of Spike Brits on a season-long loan from Manchester City. The dynamic technical goalkeeper returns to his home city after making the move to Manchester in 2023 and will aim to make the number one spot his own after joining Chris Hay and Clevis Mooka within the goalkeeping union. Hailing from Kingston upon Thames, Brits spent 10 years in the youth ranks at AFC Wimbledon, a club he initially joined at the age of 6, and worked his way up to the academy setup and received calls to the first team training while still with the under-18s, despite being only 16 years old at the time. His performance began to attract the interest from Premier League clubs, including frontrunners Manchester City, Brighton Hove Albion and Brentford. But it was Pep Guardiola's side that secured Brits' signature in June 2023, making the switch to the Etihad Stadium for a club record fee for an academy player. The 19-year-old subsequently spent his debut campaign in Sky Blue with the under-18s, making 8 appearances in between the sticks, before moving on to the club's elite development squad ahead of the 2024-25 season, giving him the opportunity to compete in Premier League 2. After a difficult spell in a season that saw him sidelined through injury, Brits returned to full fitness and played a key role as City went on to win the 2024-25 PL2 title, making 19 appearances across the under-18 Premier League North, PL2 and UEFA Youth League, keeping 7 clean sheets. Brits continued to build up experience with the EDS in his 19 appearances in 2025-26, including one of the most impressive performances, which brought a penalty save to secure a clean sheet in City's thrilling 4-0 win over Real Madrid in the UEFA Youth League. Internationally, the shot stopper has also represented England at under-16, under-17 and under-18 level. He kept 7 clean sheets from his first 8 caps of the former and played as the Young Lions won the Mondial Montaigu tournament by defeating Japan's under-16s in the final. He later made his England under-17 debut during a 3-2 defeat to Portugal at the Pinata State Arena, and led to him being included in the squad for the 2024 UEFA European Under-17 Championship. His 2 appearances during the tournament both came during the group stage, with Brits keeping a clean sheet in their opening game against France, and a year before his debut for the under-18s, drawing 1-1 with a Switzerland side at the Lafarge Foot Avenue. After completing his first temporary switch away from Manchester-based Giants, Brits said, "I'm buzzing to be here and join the club for the season, especially being a local lad who grew up in the area and seeing the impact of first-hand of a club makes on the local community. For me, it makes the move even more special. As soon as I was able to speak to the gaffer and was able to hear about the plans and ambitions for the season ahead, it was a complete no-brainer for me. I'm really looking forward to meeting the lads and getting started out on the pitch, giving everything that I can to help the team achieve its goals for the season. I can't wait to get out in front of the fans and give my all for the badge and everything that comes with it." Chris Laguta added he was very happy to welcome Spike to the football club. "I really believe it's another statement of our intent in terms of what we can achieve at Sutton United this season. We appreciate Manchester City's trust in developing one of their top talents. This in itself is a reflection of the great work that is happening at Sutton United. He will wear the number 1 shirt during his stint at Gander Green Lane, vacated ever since the departure of Jack Sims at the start of the month." Hinchelwood seems to be bringing the old band back together to get Worthing. As a player who needs little introduction, Aguiar has returned to Woodside Road after 2 years away from West Sussex. Having risen through the club's ranks before establishing himself as one of the brightest young midfielders in the non-league, the now 25-year-old is back for his 3rd spell with the Rebels, following his release from York City at the end of the 2025-26 season. Aguiar's performances in a red shirt as a teenager garnered attention from several EFL outfits, having won both the Manager's Player of the Season and the Player's Player of the Season awards in 2018-19, and retaining the Manager's Player once again in 2019-20. Swindon Town convinced the talent that Wiltshire was the best place for his career, winning the race for his signature in 2021. Following loans at Chippenham Town and Torquay United from the Robins, Ricky was brought back on a temporary basis by manager Adam Hinshelwood at the start of the 2023-24 season. He quickly reminded supporters of his qualities with 12 goals and 5 assists in the first half of the season, before the League Two side activated the clause to recall the midfielder to play for the remainder of their season. After Hinshelwood moved to York City, one of his first transfer decisions was to recruit Aguiar to join his squad in the National League. In the 2024-25 season, the newest Red made 30 National League appearances, scoring twice as York agonisingly missed out on promotion into the Football League. Last season, Ricky features in the West Sussex derby at Woodside Road for a revival, while on loan at Horsham, before ending the season with Eastleigh. Adam Hinshelwood commented on Ricky's return, but we are absolutely delighted to welcome Ricky back to Woodside Road. He is a player with immense quality in possession and can score goals from a wide range of positions, just like he did for us in his loan spell a few years ago. I can't wait to be back working with Ricky on a daily basis. He adds a lot of depth to our midfield options, and Ricky also reacted to agreeing terms with the Reds, stating that returning feels special to me, and I'm coming back with more experience and hunger. It's a club with big ambition, and I'm proud to be part of what's being built, and I'm excited to be playing in front of fans back at Woodside. To date, Aguiar has made 130 appearances for Rebels, scoring 28 goals, and tallies he will be aiming to add to in the upcoming season. After a period of training with the Rebels as well over the summer, and a handful of appearances as a trialist, Wadham has put pen to paper on a deal at Woodside Road, and in doing so, the 23-year-old has entered his third separate stint as a player with Worthing. Following previous loans from Premier League outfit AFC Bournemouth and Sutton United, the midfield magician was initially recruited by Adam Hinshelwood in January 2024 on a temporary deal from Cherries to aid the Rebels' promotion charge from National League South. However, it was under interim manager Aaron Racine that the loanee truly endeared himself to his fleeting fans, with a dramatic goal that was voted the overwhelming winner of the club's 2023-24 Goal of the Season accolade. With an away outing against Chelmsford in early March, heading towards a goalless draw, the ball broke to the then 21-year-old on the edge of the box following a corner, and without hesitating, Wadham struck a technically sublime volley into the top corner to steal all 3 points, sending the travelling support into raptures in the process. He consistently continued to produce important displays in the middle of the park as the Reds progressed all the way through to the National League South playoff final before falling just short to Braintree Town in added time. 19 appearances in his first spell was joined by 7 more a few months later, as Wadham rejoined the club on another loan, this time from Sutton. His time at Woodside, though, was cut short in November 2024, as he was recalled by his parent club before earning out 25 times in the National League. Unfortunately, a significant knee injury disrupted his most recent campaign, limiting him to just 11 league appearances. Now fully fit, the ex-Bournemouth under-18 skipper is back to fulfilled unfinished business. Now reunited with the created spark, manager Adam Hinshelwood revealed, "We're delighted to have Jack join us again, a player that we know well, adds real value and is suited to our style of play. On top of that, Wads has that vital National League experience, which is such an important asset for our side. I can't wait to see him in that red shirt again at Woodside." In similar fashion to his manager, Wadham shared the excitement of his return. "I'm really happy to have been given the opportunity to come back to Worthing. I always hoped I'd be back here at some point, so I'm glad this time it's permanent. I can't wait for the season to get underway and to play in front of the home fans." Cameron John has returned to the Pools permanently, as Hartlepool United confirmed the signing of defender Cameron John following the expiry of his contract with York City. The 26-year-old has signed a 1-year contract at Victoria Park until June 2027, with the club holding an option to extend the agreement by a further year until June 2028, subject to the relevant registration approvals, of course. He's comfortable at left back, left wing back, and left-sided centre back, and John is no stranger to Pool supporters after spending last season on loan at the club from York City. The Romford native began his footballing journey in the Southend United Academy, before joining Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2015, where he spent 5 years progressing through one of England's most leading academy systems. John's breakthrough into senior football came during the 2019-20 season when he joined Doncaster Rovers on loan. He made 20 appearances in all competitions, scoring 3 goals, including his first senior strike in the EFL Trophy. Doncaster quickly secured his services on a permanent basis, and he went on to make 66 appearances, scoring 5 goals and providing 2 assists across 3 seasons in League One and domestic cup competitions. In search of regular first-team football, John joined Rochdale in the summer of 2022. Despite a challenging period for the club, he established himself as one of the side's most dependable performers, making 54 appearances across League Two and the National League, while contributing 5 assists. Ahead of the 2024-25 campaign, John joined York City and quickly became a key figure in the National League's strongest defensive units, helping the Minstermen secure a second-place finish before narrowly missing out on promotion through the National League playoffs. A season-long move to Victoria Park followed, where John quickly established himself as one of Pool's most influential players. He made 40 appearances in all competitions, scoring twice, while playing a key role throughout the 2025-26 campaign. Still only 26, John returns to Victoria Park in the prime of his career, with almost 200 senior career appearances across the Football League and National League. Having established himself as one of the division's most reliable left-sided defenders, speaking after completing his permanent return to Hartlepool United, Cameron John said, "I'm absolutely delighted to be back. I really enjoyed my time here last season, and when it came to an end, I always hoped there would be an opportunity to return. A lot has changed over the summer, but in a really positive way. There's still plenty of familiar faces around the dressing room, but you can tell there's a fresh energy around the club and everyone is looking forward to the season ahead. I've kept an eye on everything that's been happening since the end of last season, and it's been exciting to see the progress the club has made both on and off the pitch. The players who've come in will be at real quality and competition, and that can only be a good thing for us. The supporters played a massive part in my decision as well. They were brilliant with me from the moment I arrived last season, and I love playing in front of them. When Victoria Park is full and everyone gets behind the team, it's one of the best atmospheres I've experienced, and it gives you a real life lift as a player. I know the expectations that come with playing for Pools, and that's exactly how it should be. As players, it's up to us to meet those levels and give the supporters a team that they can be proud of. I can't wait to get started now, see the lads again, and do everything I can to help the team have a successful season. There's a real sense of optimism around the club, and hopefully we can give our supporters plenty to cheer about over the months ahead." John becomes the latest addition to Lee Clark's squad ahead of the National League season, joining Jordan Hugel, Liam Gibson, Jack Nolan, Owen Hampson, Chris Popov, Will Harris, Charlie Penman, Brooklyn Ilunga, Corey McKeown, Terry Bondo, and Neo Eccleston at Victoria Park. Lee Clark, the first-team head coach at Hartlepool United, said, "I'm delighted to bring Cam back to the football club because he's a player we really wanted. You only have to look at what he did here last season. He was one of the best defenders in the National League, and his performances showed exactly what he can bring to a team. When a player performs at that level and you get the chance to sign him permanently, it's one you want to make happen. The fact he's been here before is another big plus. He knows the club, he knows the supporters, and he settled in really well last season. So he'll be able to hit the ground running. He's still only 26, but he's already got plenty of Football League and National League experience behind him. He's naturally left-sided, can play in a few different positions, and give us real quality and depth across the back line. I also know how keen Cam was to come back. He loved his time here last season, and makes no secret of the fact he wanted to return. When a player is that enthusiastic about coming back to your football club, it's always a positive. We're all delighted to have him back. The supporters know exactly what he'll bring because they saw it themselves for last season, and I'm looking forward to working with him." Chris Maxwell, who is the head of football operations, said that Cam was someone who we made a real priority once it became clear he was available. He knew exactly what he'd given the club during his loan spell last season. He was one of the standout defenders in the National League, and his performances meant there was always going to be strong interest in him once his contract came to an end. We had to be patient because there was a number of clubs looking at him, but throughout the conversations we had with Cam, it was clear he genuinely wanted to come back to pools. That certainly helped because we knew we had a player who was fully committed to returning. When we're building a squad, we're looking for players who improve us straight away and fit the profile we're looking for. Cam was exactly that. He's naturally left-sided, comfortable in a number of defensive positions, has excellent experience for someone who's still only 26, and just as importantly, we know exactly what he'll bring to the group. We're delighted to have him back. He improves the squad, adds real quality in an important area of pitch, and I'm sure supporters will be just as pleased as we are to see him back at Victoria Park. Southend United have taken a gamble on bringing in veteran Colclough, as Southend United has announced the signing of Ryan Colclough on a one-year contract with a club option for a second year. The 31-year-old scored 7 goals in 30 appearances during Chesterfield's National League title-winning 2023-24 campaign, and boasts a total of 197 appearances across EFL appearances, that is, across his career. As well as 2 League One titles, Colclough links back up with head coach Kieran Dyer after working together at the Spyrites. It's a pleasure being here, said Colclough shortly after agreeing terms. Obviously, I've worked with a gaffer before, so I know what he wants. I played at Roots Hall a few times before. I know what a big club it is. The fans always make it hostile coming here, so I can't wait to get going. Colclough started his professional career at Crewe Alexandra, where he made 60 League One appearances before joining Wigan Athletic in 2016. He scored twice in 10 appearances as the Lactics became champions of the third tier, before spending the first half of the following season on loan at MK Dons. After Wigan fell back into League One ahead of the 2017-18 season, Colclough got 4 goals in 26 appearances to help his club make an immediate return to the Championship as title winners once again. Colclough then spent 2 years at Scunthorpe United, where he made a further 37 EFL appearances, before joining Altrincham in November 2020, where he netted 8 goals in 28 games in all competitions. A total of 18 national goals in the next season and a half attracted the attention of fifth-tier high flyers Chesterfield, who snapped up a winger in a bid to strengthen their promotion push. Having fallen to Notts County in the National League promotion final at Wembley, Colclough and the Spyrites rectified the situation in 2023-24, finishing 12 points clear at the top of the division. Colclough remained a mainstay of the Chesterfield team in the EFL, making 36 appearances in 2024-25 before joining the AFC Fylde in September 2025. He scored 4 goals in 10 appearances until his departure in January 2026 and hasn't played since. Ryan is someone I know well, Dyer commented. He's a direct winger who can play on the left or on the right. He's very quick and was one of the best players at taking on opponents in a 1-versus-1 situations. Giving experience of winning a league, and we're delighted to add him to our squad. So that's the National League roundup. We're now going to the National League North and South roundup. Headlines, sort of movers, shakers, stuff like that. As Steve Watson sees Sam Hetherington return. Darlington have announced the signing of Sam Hetherington for the 2026-27 season for a one-year deal. Sam, who is age 20, is a name Darlow fans will remember from his time on loan in the second half of the 24-25 season, where the midfielder would make 16 appearances and score 2 goals. He started his career at Carlisle United as a youngster in their academy, where he made 3 first-team appearances in the EFL Trophy and spent time on loan at Workington in the first half of the 24-25 season. After a good loan at Darlington, Sam would sign his first professional contract with the Cumbrians at the end of the 24-25 season, but would unfortunately not make an appearance for the first team that season. Sam would be invited back to pre-season training with Carlisle and would play 45 minutes against Motherwell in a 3-2 win before signing for the Quakers. There's a real buzz around Harborough as the Bees sign Brit. Harborough Town have announced the signing of experienced striker Britt Assombalonga ahead of the club's inaugural Enterprise National League North campaign. The 33-year-old arrives at the Beehive, boasting an outstanding professional career, spanning more than 500 senior appearances, with the majority coming in the Championship and League One. A powerful, pacey forward renowned for his goal-scoring records, Assombalonga has presented clubs including Watford, Braintree Town, Southend United, Peterborough United, Nottingham Forest, Middlesbrough, and Adana Demirspor before most recently playing for Antalyaspor in Turkey. Across spells with Peterborough United, Nottingham Forest and Middlesbrough, Assombalonga established himself as one of the Championship's most feared forwards, scoring more than 180 senior career goals and consistently performing at the highest levels of the English Football League. The DR Congo international now joins Mitch Austin's squad ahead of Harbour Town's first ever season in the National League North, bringing in a wealth of experience and proven quality to an already established and exciting group at the Beehive. His arrival represents another significant milestone in the club's remarkable journey, adding one of the most recognisable names in recent English Football League history to the Bees squad. Speaking after completing the move, Assombalonga told Bees Media, "After speaking to the gaffer and hearing the way he spoke about the club, the staff and the players, the move made perfect sense for me at this stage of my career. From the minute I stepped into the building, everyone has made me feel welcome, and it was one of those experiences during pre-season that helped me make up my mind. We will take every game as it comes, and I, along with the rest of the lads, will give everything we have to help the club succeed." Speaking on the sign of the first team manager Mitch Austin added, "We had connections through the coaching scene, and with Britt moving locally, we had the opportunity to bring him in for pre-season and see whether he still had that bit between his teeth. Since he walked through the door, he has shown himself to be a really enthusiastic person who loves football. He is very different from some former professionals you come across, and he is someone we are really excited to work with. I'm going to be on him because I want him to have a high-scoring season with us. We want to get the best out of him while making sure he enjoys his football." Elliot Taylor is looking to make the step up with Chorley, as the striker Taylor may have signed for Burskoff only a month ago, but his talent has been assumed too much for the North West Counties League, as the 24-year-old was one of the highest goal scorers in the whole of non-league last season, as he scored 46 goals with AFC Liverpool last season. That spell saw him initially move to league competitors Burskoff, but Andy Priest saw the potential and lifted him through the levels to compete in the National League North for the upcoming season with Chorley. Burskoff's boss Phil Stafford certainly believed that Taylor had the ability to play at a higher level, so it may not be too surprising that he did take the step up. Local Williamson switches from the Pegasus to the Pools. Hereford have confirmed the signing of local lad Jordan Williamson from Hereford Pegasus following a successful trial period with the Bulls this summer. The attacker has spent the majority of pre-season as part of Aaron Downs' setup ahead of the 2026-27 campaign, featuring in a friendly against his former side on the July 11th, as well as the trip to the Bishop's Cleeve and victory over Worcester City. It was Williamson's enterprising run that won the penalty for Hereford's opening goal on Tuesday night, but was converted by another Pegasus alumnus in striker Corley Cox. Pegasus is Player of the Year and top scorer in 2024-25. Williamson produced more stellar performances throughout the 25-26 season to help the Premier League Premier Division outfit finish ninth on the table and lift the Hellenic League Challenge Cup. The captain's 32 goals in all competitions, including 4 against local rivals Westfields at the beginning of the season, and 3 of them coming in the space of just 5 minutes, and a second quartet to help defeat Droitwich Spa at the end of the season. That unsurprisingly secured the forward another Golden Boot accolade, while he was also crowned Players' Player of the Season and Supporters of Player of the Season. First and foremost, he's had great success at Pegasus, and we were aware of him all summer. We'd always planned to take a look at him and see if he was able to step up to our level. I'm really pleased to be able to bring Jordan into our football club, said Manager Downs. There are areas of improvement we know that Jordan can make and make quite quickly, and I'm excited about all the attributes that he can bring to the team. Secondly, Jordan is from Hereford and knows what it means to represent this football club, and he's really excited and honoured to be joining us. Along with Corley Cox, it shows that there is good talent within Herefordshire area, and we're glad we're able to bring in 2 local players that are going to make a massive difference for us. I also want to thank Pegasus for their patience and understanding, and we look forward to seeing what Jordan can do in Herefordshire for this upcoming season. Taylor has taken his association up to 13 years, as Taylor's fresh contract means that the Moors fans we'll be able to continue watching one of the greatest players in the club's history leading the line during the next 2 seasons. Since his return for a second spell with Moors in 2015, Taylor has broken all scoring records to become the club's all-time leading marksman with an astonishing 233 goals in 441 appearances. Taylor is also National League North's all-time top scorer, and he passed 20 goals in the competition again last season, as he landed the club's prestigious Players' Player of Award. Year of award, that is. Now 36, the iconic striker has been at the heart of so many memorable moments in a Moors shirt, including promotion to the National League North in 2016-17, and an incredible run to the FA Trophy final at Wembley in 2024-25. It was vital that we kept Glenn because of what he has done and continues doing for this football club, said boss Tommy Miller. He is obviously getting on in age now, but I don't think there is much doubt that there is still nobody better than him in the league. He offers a real physical presence for us up there, and his goal-scoring record over years is just phenomenal, really. Glenn has had opportunities to go elsewhere during his time here, but he stayed loyal to Spennymoor, and the club has stayed loyal to him. Agreeing the 2-year deal is massive for us and for Glenn, and it shows the faith we have in him to continue doing the business. So we're absolutely delighted he's staying. High-profile Hutchinson has signed for Farnham. Farnham Town have announced the signing of veteran midfielder Sam Hutchinson following his departure from League One side AFC Wimbledon, who joins the town on a 2-year contract. The 36-year-old has tallied almost 300 senior appearances at the pro level after breaking through the Chelsea Academy and picking up the 2009-10 Premier League and 2011-12 FA Cup winners' medals. Having overcome some injury problems early in his career, Sam found a settled home at Hillsborough with Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship, impressing on an initial loan spell in the spring of 2014 before completing a permanent move from Chelsea on a free transfer that summer. Over the next 8 seasons, Sam would establish himself as a key player for the Owls, tallying over 200 appearances in the Championship and League One, narrowly missing out on an immediate return to the second tier via playoffs in the 2021-22 season. Sam would leave Wednesday in the summer of 2022, returning to the Championship with Reading, where he would make 26 appearances over the next 2 seasons. In December 2024, Sam signed for AFC Wimbledon in League Two and would immediately become a key dressing room leader at the club, appearing 18 times in the league over the remainder of the season, helping them to promotion back to League One via the playoffs. In total, he played 23 times at AFC Wimbledon before leaving the club last month. It's great to welcome a player of Sam's experience and calibre to the squad, manager Paul Johnson said. As someone with over 300 appearances in the pro games, he's seen and experienced everything there is in football, and will be able to use those experiences to help the rest of the group through what will be an exciting but challenging season at this level. He's trained with a group recently and has been with us for some of our recent friendlies. So he's already begun to establish those relationships with his teammates and people around the club. As an experienced leader, Sam will raise the standards of the group and be an important voice in the dressing room. I look forward to working with him this season. And Chairman Harry Hugo adds, Sam is probably the highest profile signing in the club's history. That's an incredibly exciting thing to think about. Having spent the best part of the last 2 decades around a pro game in the Premier League and the Football League, it's clear that from speaking to Sam, he wanted a fresh challenge in football at this stage of his career, and we're delighted that he's chosen to take that next step with us. He had offers to stay in the Football League, including from some of his former clubs, but he's chosen Farnham Town, which says a lot about where we are at a club right now. Able to play in midfield or in defence, Sam offers us valuable options, experience and leadership in a playing group that's going to need to work about this season as we tackle the National League South for the first time ever. We're all looking forward to working with Sam over the next 2 years as a key part of this next chapter of our story. Samakula has signed for Dagenham and Redbridge. As Dagenham and Redbridge have announced the signing of midfielder Hansa Samakula on non-contract terms, actually. The 24-year-old joins the Daggers after impressing manager Lee Allinson and his coaching staff throughout pre-season, with a series of energetic and accomplished performances in midfield. Unfortunately, Hamza suffered an injury during their pre-season fixture against United, bringing an early end to his preparations for the new campaign. Despite the setback, the club is committed to supporting Hamza throughout his rehabilitation and is delighted to welcome him to Victoria Road. Signing on non-contract terms will allow him to continue his recovery with the Daggers before returning to action when fully fit. Hamza arrives with valuable experience in non-league football, having represented Boreham Wood, Chalfont St Peter, Enfield Borough, St Panteleimon, Hendon, Aveley, and most recently Hemel Hempstead Town. He previously played under Lee Allenson during their time together at both Hendon and Hemel Hempstead before reuniting with the manager this summer. Rob Tuvey has been announced as the assistant manager at Maidstone, as Tuvey arrives at the Gallagher Stadium to join Craig Fagan's management team, bringing with him a wealth of coaching experience gained across the Football League and National League. Most recently with Dorking Wanderers, Rob has also held coaching roles at AFC Wimbledon, where he was part of the coaching staff during their successful spell in League One and League Two, earning a reputation for his detailed preparation, player development, and high coaching standards. His appointment is another important addition to the club's football management team as preparations continue for the new season. Manager Craig Fagan said, "I'm delighted to welcome Rob to Maidstone United. He's someone I've known within the game and always had a huge amount of respect for. He brings outstanding coaching experience, excellent attention to detail, and shares the values and ambitions we want to build here at the football club. As soon as we spoke, it was clear we were aligned in how we want the team to play, how we want to develop players, and the standards we expect every day. I'm really looking forward to working alongside him." And speaking after joining the Stones, Rob Tuvey said, "I'm really pleased to be joining Maidstone United. It's a club with a fantastic support base, excellent facilities, and a clear ambition. After speaking with Craig, it was an easy decision. His vision for the team and the culture he wants to create is something I was excited to be part of. I can't wait to finally meet the supporters and help the club enjoy a successful season." Maynard have actually broken their York Road attendance record last week, as on Wednesday night, Maidenhead broke their attendance record in a game against Wolverhampton Wanderers with a massive 3,226, turning up to York Road with the championship outfit coming as part of a deal they had when they signed Max Kilman back in 2018. Ryan Peters' men, by all accounts, gave a good account of themselves, but a 57th minute Mateus Mane goal gave Wolves the win. The previous record was 2,600, and that saw Maidenhead take on West Ham United all the way back in 1997. Dorking Wanderers have taken control and the controlling lease on Meadowbank. Following collaborative discussions, Dorking and Surrey Football Association have jointly announced that they have reached an agreement in principle for Dorking Wanderers to take on the operating lease on Meadowbank Football Ground, subject of course to council approval and contract. This agreement follows a period of close collaboration between both organisations, underpinned by a shared vision to build on the stadium's existing success and further enhance its role in supporting community football. Surrey FA have been instrumental in developing the site into the leading football venue in Surrey, and this moment marks the next step in Meadowbank's journey. Surrey FA will continue to be based at their Meadowbank offices, whilst working closely with Dorking Wanderers to enhance community football in the town. The acquisition of a lease will enable DWFC to continue developing Meadowbank as a vibrant hub for football at all levels, from grassroots participation through to senior competition. A spokesperson for Dorking Wanderers said, "This is a landmark moment for the club and the town. We are incredibly proud to be taking on the lease at the Meadowbank Stadium, and we are grateful to Surrey FA for their support and collaboration throughout this process. We would also like to thank Mold Valley District Council for its constructive engagement throughout this process, and we look forward to continue to work with the council as the proposal progresses through the necessary approvals. This deal allows us to build for the future with confidence and continue investing in facilities for players, supporters, and the local community." Sorry Briggs, who was the chair of the Surrey FA, added, "Having developed and responsibly managed Meadowbank over many years, Surrey FA are pleased to hand stewardship of the site to Dorking Wanderers to support their ongoing evolution. Having achieved significant success on the pitch, a clear commitment to supporting local football partners, and to serving the local community, we believe that this is the right time for Dorking Wanderers to take on the facility. This represents a positive outcome for the Surrey FA and grassroots football across the county, enabling us to reinvest proceeds into the growing game, developing new hub sites and expanding access to high-quality facilities. We're going to go now to the headlines for Tier 7, aka Step 3, as winger Cox has been swooped by the Rooks. Or the Rooks. Lewes have announced versatile wide player Tyler Cox as the club's latest summer signing. Cox, who featured in their 2-1 pre-season win at Rustall, can play on either side of the pitch as a wing-back or higher up in a more attacking role. A former Stevenage youth player, he has a proven track record at Step 4 level in non-league and is now ready to establish himself at Step 3 with Lewes. Tyler was a player we were really keen to bring in because every successful squad needs players with his versatility, said Lewes men's first team manager Craig Nelson. He can play at right back, left back, on the right or left wing, and wherever you ask him to play, he's going to be consistent, committed in his performance. And what really stands out is his tenacity and work ethic. He gets absolutely everything every time he steps on the pitch, never shirks a challenge, and always puts the team first. Those are qualities you can't have enough of in a dressing room, and I'm looking forward to seeing the impact that he'll have for us throughout the season. Cox captained Sutton Common Rovers in the 2022-23 Isthmian League South Central campaign, leading the team in appearances and scoring in the promotion relegation playoffs to keep the team at Step 4. He then joined Leatherhead for the 2023-24 campaign, again making the most appearances, and this time helping his side finish third in the South Central table. Cox also starred in the playoffs, scoring in the semi-final and subsequent penalty shootout. Those performances with Leatherhead drew the attention of Aveley, then part of the National League South, and Cox made the move to the Essex outfit in March 2024. A loan spell at Whitehawk enabled him to make his Step 3 debut in the Isthmian Premier, followed by a stint at Kingstonian and a return to Leatherhead. Last season, Cox played for Rains Park Vale in the Isthmian South Central, making 25 appearances and scoring 6 goals. I spoke to Pitts, who outlined everything for me, the way they play and what my role would be in the team, and the conversation went well, said Cox on his move to the dripping pan. It was no-brainer. Lewes is a good club, and with a good background and fans. I played left wing, right wing, left and right wing back, left back and right back. I played in the 10 as well. That versatility is another thing Pitts has brought me in for. Last year, I got rid of an injury that set me back a bit. The year before, I was moving to different clubs. This year, the aim is to be settled and play as much football as possible. Sam Baird has stepped away, unfortunately, from football due to an injury. Everyone at Ashton United will probably be saddened by the confirmation that after a long period on the sidelines, Sam Baird has unfortunately suffered a setback in his recovery ahead of the new season. Following discussions with the club, Sam has made the decision to step away from the football in general for a time, to focus on fully attempting to recover. While they will naturally be disappointed to lose a player of Sam's quality ahead of the season, his long-term health and well-being will always come first. Football is secondary, and the club do fully support Sam in taking the time he needs. Since joining Ashton United, Sam has become a firm favourite with their supporters and has represented the club 158 times with the utmost professionalism, as well as scoring 12 goals, including a dramatic last gasp winner against Macclesfield during the 2024-25 season. Steve Cunningham added, as a management team and as a club, we are saddened to share this news, but we know our supporters will join us in wishing Sam a full and speedy recovery. We all hope to see him back wearing the colours of Ashton United when the time is right. We would also like to send our very best wishes to Sam and his family during this period, as we look forward to welcoming the Baird family back to Hurst Cross and hope to see them at matches throughout the season. The club will retain Sam's registration during this time and will look forward to supporting him throughout his recovery, and they will be hopefully welcoming him back to full fitness in the near future. Kamara has signed for Chertsey, as Chertsey Town have signed tricky winger Jaheim Kamara from Ascot United, despite the forward agreeing to stay with Ascot. Kamara came through the Dulwich Hamlet youth setup um, and has a chance to play step-free football for the first time with Chertsey in the Southern Premier League South. His debut season saw him in 24-25 make 39 appearances at step 4 with Badshot Lee, before moving to Ascot last season where he made another 39 appearances and scored 6 goals. Marzano is an ideal match for Peterborough Sports and has impressed Graham Drury and his staff during the pre-season games so far this season when playing as a trialist, and he has now officially signed for the club. The versatile defender spent the last 2 seasons at Stamford, having also played for Ilkeston Town, Eastwood, Quorn, Rushden Diamonds and Kettering Town. Marzano spoke about signing for the club. It feels really good to get it over the line. Obviously, I've been involved all pre-season, but can't wait to officially get going now. The aim is getting the club back to where they belong in the league above. It's something I want to do personally, as well as I've not played in that level before. Graham Drury spoke about his latest signing, saying that Maz can cover so many positions, including all of defence. He's an important asset to have in the camp. He's a quick player and works incredibly hard for the team. James Elliott has been given a chance as a head coach. As a local man as well, James joined Cheshire after a successful spell as first-team manager at Warmley Rovers. He also brings considerable playing experience, having represented Enfield, Stevenage, Sheffield United and Lincoln City during his career. James has been at Cheshire for several years, gaining valuable experience under the guidance of both Craig Edwards and Mel Gwinnett. He has also previously stepped up to take charge of first team on an interim basis before, but James is extremely hardworking and highly motivated, with an excellent rapport with the players and supporters. His knowledge of the club and the current squad will provide valuable continuity as the club moves forwards. Cheshunt chairman Dean Williamson said, James thoroughly deserves this opportunity. He knows the club, the ability and our supporters extremely well, and I have every confidence in his ability to take the team forward. He will also have the full support of everyone at Cheshire Football Club as he steps into the role. James Elliott said that it is a real honour to be appointed first team manager. As a Cheshire lad, it seems a great deal to be given the opportunity to manage my hometown club. I wish the opportunity had come in a very different circumstances, as Mel has been great influence on me and has done a tremendous amount of work for Cheshire. I am grateful to the club for placing its trust in me, and I will get everything I have to the role. We have an exciting group of players, and I am looking forward to working with them and giving our supporters a team they can be proud of. Fowler has left a bad taste as he has suddenly departed Redditch. As Redditch had their pre-season preparations rocked by Mike Fowler's sudden departure, with Fowler guiding Redditch to finish just outside the playoffs and goal difference last season. Fowler was only given a new contract a month ago, but with the ink barely dry and the season starting in only 2 weeks, they have mutually parted ways. Fowler took over Redditch in May 2025, having had managerial experience in Tamworth, assisted Atherstone Town, Solihull Moors under-19s for 4 years, and was also the technical coach with Darlaston Town. Assistant manager Jimmy Fry takes over the reins for the remaining of the pre-season fixtures. Walker has made his way to Hyde, as the experienced forward Tom Walker joins Hyde United after impressing on trial. Walker started his career at Bolton Wanderers and made his first team debut in January 2015. The 30-year-old has also played at Salford City, FC United, Stockport County, and he got a second chance in the Football League with Harrogate in 2020, but only featured 12 times for the Yorkshire outfit. Walker has also picked up 2 England caps in the past. And following his departure from Chorley at the end of last season, he has impressed the manager enough on his trial period to sign him for the season. Walker said, I'm delighted to get it done. I've been talking to the gaffer for the past few weeks, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the season now. I've still got a bit of life left in me. I feel I'm at my peak, and I'm ready to do well this season. Onto the Tier 8 sides, as Grimsby Borough have signed former Brentford star Clark. The 32-year-old, who can play as a right back or a winger, joins Tom Clay's side following a long hiatus from the game. He made 84 appearances for Brentford across all competitions between 2013 and 2020, having progressed through the Bees Academy system. He also featured for the likes of Carlshalton Athletic, Maidenhead United, Barnet and Burton Albion. His most recent spell, though, was with the National League South side Dartford, who during the 2021-22 campaign. But following 10 appearances for the club, he departed in an attempt to resolve an injury issues that he was ongoing. After securing Clark's signature, manager Tom Claycy was full of excitement, saying, "Josh is the type of player we wanted to bring to this club. He's got fantastic experience, a great player, and still has so much to offer. His quality will be a real asset to the group, and we're looking forward to working with him this season." Gifton has left in a bit of confusion, I would imagine, over his Walthamstow departure, with Gifton Noel Williams being appointed as manager of the Isthmian League North Division club at Walthamstow in May, having replaced Andy Leese and John Meeks. But a former Watford striker was sacked without even overseeing a game. Former Hertford Town, Welwyn Garden City and Potters Bar Town boss Max Mitchell has been appointed in his place. All Walthamstow has said is that they regretfully parted ways and appreciate the lack of stability, but needed to act to ensure they made the most of the pre-season. Margetts retires as Ando arrives. Matlock Town have announced the signing of experienced Dutch defender Levi Ando following his departure from Kettering Town. Standing at 6'4", Ando arrives at Causeway Lane with an impressive pedigree and a wealth of experience gained at levels above the Northern Premier League East Division. A commanding presence with pace, technical quality and tactical intelligence make him a versatile defender capable of adapting to a variety of systems. His composure on the ball, athleticism and ability to read the game has seen him established as a proven performer throughout the non-league pyramid. The 26-year-old has represented a host of well-respected clubs during his career, including York City, Hereford, Truro City and Darlington, bringing with him invaluable experience and leadership to the Gladiators' back line. Levi becomes the latest addition to Matlock Town's squad as preparations continue for their new campaign, further strengthening the defensive options ahead of what promises to be an exciting season at Causeway Lane. But Matlock Town have also confirmed that following discussions with forward Jonathan Margetts, the Gladiator striker has made the difficult decision to retire from football at the age of 32, after suffering a reaction following a summer knee injury. Everyone at the club is understandably devastated by the news, as is Jonathan himself, who was looking forward to playing a key role in the Gladiators' forthcoming season. As a club, they played a key part in Jonathan's story, and throughout an outstanding career, he has created countless special memories, many of which came from during his time with the Gladiators. His goals, commitment and professionalism have left a mark on the club forever, while his character and humility earned him the respect and admiration of teammates, staff, supporters and everyone fortunate to share a dressing room with him. Jonathan leaves the game with a legacy to be immensely proud of, but more importantly, he leaves with lifelong friendships and the gratitude of everyone connected with that football club. Dixon's experience will prove invaluable to Lower Breck. Lower Breck have completed the signing of experienced midfielder Bohan Dixon. Dixon has been without a club in semi-professional game since leaving Warrington Town midway through last season. The 36-year-old boasts a wealth of experience from his time with the Yellows, having made just short of 250 appearances for the club over 2 spells. Arriving in Warrington in 2018, Dixon helped Town win the Northern Premier League playoffs in his first season, before they were denied promotion by Kings Lynn Town in a one-off Super playoff. He remained a key figure for the Yellows, helping them go one step further and achieve promotion during the 2022-23 campaign, before playing a starring role in the club's first season in the National League North as they finished 12th. Dixon left to join Macclesfield in early 2024 but returned that same summer. He becomes Breck's 5th signing of the summer, off the back of a positive debut campaign at Step 4, which resulted in an NPL West Division playoff finish. In a statement confirming his signing, Breck said, No stranger to those in non-league, Bohan has all the qualities you want from a player at this level. You won't find a more comfortable footballer in possession. And the Greenidge brothers are linking up at Sittingbourne. Sittingbourne have strengthened their squad with the arrivals of Jordan and Reece Greenidge. Forward Jordan played youth football for both Reading and Stoke City, and then packed his bags for Cyprus to play for Omonia. After a spell in Spain, he returned to the UK with Newport County, and then had spells with Weymouth, Dartford and Hemel Hempstead Town. Whilst with the Tudors, he moved to Tunbridge Angels on loan and became an instant success, eventually moving permanently to Longmead. Another spell as a Dart was followed by a move to Chelmsford City for 24-25, and last season found him in the National League South with both Slough Town and Hampton and Richmond Borough. His brother Reece Greenidge is a defender who played his formative football with Arsenal and West Bromwich Albion, and had loan spells at Port Vale and Ipswich Town whilst at the Hawthorns. After leaving Midlands, he signed for Ebbsfleet United before 3 loan spells at Hemel Hempstead Town, and then he decided he rather liked the cold weather and moved to Norway, where he played for both Sogndal and Arendal. He returned to the UK with Bolton Wanderers and had a brief loan spell at Barnet before having a successful spell at Maidstone United, and played with his brother at Slough last season. So Roberts has come in to bolster the experience. Well, his experience will bolster Westfield. James Roberts strengthens the Westfield forward line, and Westfield have brought in a new forward, and he has experience at a much higher level. James Roberts played youth football for Wycombe Wanderers and Oxford United before graduating to the first team at the latter. Whilst with United, he had a succession of loan spells, the nearest being Oxford City, but also included Chester, Barnet and Guiseley, before he eventually departed to join Aylesbury in town, and spells at Hereford, Spennymoor Town and Oxford City followed, before he had a rather long period in the south, signing for Havant and Waterlooville, where he spent the next 3 years. A period at Hampton and Richmond Borough came next, before a spell at Horsham. He moved to the Southern Premier side Sholing in January and played 19 times last season, scoring 3 goals. Moving on to the final bit of a segment of this show in the Tier 9 and 10 headlines, with Blake becoming the new boss of Yateley United. Yateley United have a new manager in the guise of Jordan Blake, who replaced Adam Hopkins, who left to take the reins of Southern League Bracknell Town. Blake has spent the last 4 years managing Woodley United, who led them to the Combined Counties League Division 1 playoffs last season, and the furthest they've ever ventured in the FA Vars. Chairman Richard Pascoe stated that Yateley United are delighted to announce Jordan Blake as our new first-team manager. After speaking to Jordan, it was clear that he shares the same ambition as the club and also their club culture. After gaining their status at Step 5 last season, they are obviously delighted. They are delighted to have Jordan leading them into the new phase of their journey. Obviously, the timing of the appointment just a few weeks before the season isn't ideal for Jordan, but he will have the support of a fantastic club and community behind him, and together we will continue to build on our success. Welcome, Jordan, and we look forward to an exciting future together. Some sad news, unfortunately, to tell you is that Penrith has last week lost their chairman, Brian Williams. And Penrith are therefore in mourning over the passing of a 79-year-old chairman, Brian Williams, who has been involved with the Cumbrian club for over 60 years as a player, a manager and a chairman, and is widely respected throughout Cumbria and the Northern League. The thoughts go out to all the friends and family at this time. Francesco Zabotti has become Harlow Town manager, as Harlow Town acted swiftly in replacing John Mackey and Jason Geraghty, who resigned after taking over the club in April once the news that the club had been rescued from administration. Zabotti has previously managed Essex Senior League side Athletic Newham on 3 separate occasions, as well as managing AS London and being head coach of Concord Rangers. Therefore, Francesco brings in a wealth of experience to the Hawks. And finally, Shortwood have shuffled the deck before the season starts. Peter Beadle, who previously managed Hereford, was sacked by Shortwood United just before the season opener away to Swindon Supermarine Reserves this weekend. Beadle took charge for Shortwood with Jamie Underwood, with the Woods sitting bottom of league. But they masterminded a revival, seeing them finishing 12th in the Hellenic League Division 1 table. However, pre-season has seen them lose several key players, and now they have lost their manager, it looks like it will be another tough season. Former Chelford boss and former Shortwood striker Mike Finnan comes in as the successor. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you are new around here, please do subscribe. That would be hugely appreciated. It takes a lot of research to, as you can tell, to make this video. Shout out to the non-league paper for giving me some of the ideas of things to cover today, to the BBC, to Talk Sport, to the local press, newspaper reports, club websites and league websites for giving all the details involved in making this video. I will be making another video tomorrow, my League 2 predictions for the upcoming season. So hopefully catch you all then. I'll see you around.